Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Ask Me Any Stock US session. Is happening right now. Thanks for being early. All right, those of you who have been joining us every single Friday, 10:30 a.m. sharp. Really appreciate seeing the familiar names over here. Thank you so much, guys. So let's see who is here. This type of GM for good morning. Let me just acknowledge all of you for joining us today. Let's see. We have Mal over here. Hi, good morning as well. Hi, Dixon. Morning. First Last morning. Yeah, First Last, I think we see you every Friday as well. Good morning, ABC. Andy, hi. Good to see you here as well. Let's see. Brian, today, Singapore Bank, what happened? DBS dropped so much. Okay, so today, guys, we'll be talking about the US market, right? So if you have been joining us every Friday, what happens is that you can see that every Friday we go live and we cover either the Singapore or the US market. So last Friday was Singapore, right? So today will be US, all right, US stocks. So if you're looking at US stocks, right, Apple, Microsoft, whatever US stock, right, you are in the right place. All right, of course, we'll cover the markets as well. So if you want to cover like DBS and some Singapore stock, right? Next Friday, then we'll go back to Singapore. So every Friday, like we go live, US, Singapore. All right. So we hope you understand. So today is US. Let's see who is here, right? Ritu, good morning as well. YL, good morning. Styler, good morning. Edwin, hi, Ice, Andy, morning, energized mood, morning as well. Okay, good. So welcome, guys. It seems like this is working fine. Welcome to our Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session happening right now. Today is the US market, right? So for those of you who are kind of like joining us for the very first time, scrolling through YouTube and even on Facebook, what happens is that we are live every Friday. So what happens is that we go through a quick market outlook, right? Some of the key factors affecting the market. Why is the market more bullish, maybe more bearish as well? Let's find out later. All right. And then we'll dive into the next part, which would be to kind of like cover the US stocks that you guys are asking about. So what you do is to hit the like and share button. Hit the like and share button, guys. Help us to just share. Show us some love. There's some like heart shape button right over here that will really help out the YouTube channel as well as the Facebook channel as well. Thank you so much. So hit the like and share button. All right. Thank you so much for those of you who have hit the like and share button. All right. Okay, so let's get started, right? So after that, we'll cover the US stocks, right, in a bit, and make sure you stay all the way to the end. Why? Because at the end, that is where we will go ahead to cover three bonus stocks that we like. So I have my team with me right over here. We have Bervyn and Zee over here. But in case we have never met before, right? In case the first time you are seeing me, you don't even know who I am, right? Let me just quickly introduce myself, right? My name is Joey Choy, top tier reminder trader in Phillip Securities. I've been doing this for more than 15 years now, and I utilize what I call the one good trend strategy. Essentially, the strategy is about riding stocks along with the same direction as the trend. We have what we call a tool that can help us as well to make decisions much easier, whether to buy or to sell, to get out, to wait, to do nothing, right? That's what we kind of like, have a tool to guide us, right? And that's exactly what we use later as well to analyze your US stock. So my forte has been stocks, right? Has been stocks for the past 15 over years. Singapore stock, US stocks, a bit of Hong Kong stocks, anything to do with stocks. That's pretty much what I do every day, right? But the tool that we have, you can cover any asset classes as well, even crypto, FX, doesn't matter, right? But my forte is in stocks, right? So if you're looking at US stocks today, you are in the right place, right? And I want to go ahead to introduce to you my team member as well. Right, today we have Bervyn joining me as well. Bervyn is one of the team members under me in Phillip Securities, under me for more than 4 to 5 years now, assisting our clients in broking business, assisting our mentees with our one-on-one sessions, our group coaching sessions, even assisting our team's portfolio manager as well with the managed account service as well, right? And Bervyn joining me as well is what we call a chartered financial analyst holder, CFA. So those of you who are in the banking and finance space, right, this is one of the highest qualifications one can ever get in this space, right? So Bervyn is not just pro technically, but also fundamentally as well. All right, so maybe I can pass on the mic to Bervyn just to share a little bit on himself, right, in case you guys are new to him as well. Bervyn?
All right, thanks Joey for the introduction. Good morning everyone. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time for those of you who are joining us for our weekly AMAS session. Like Joey said, today we are covering the US market. I think a couple of key news have just came out for the US market over the last few days. Everybody here is quite excited about it. But where will the market go? I think later Joey we'll first start off with a market overview. So, pay close attention. Pay close attention because I think the market is seeing a little bit of a renewed strength. And it's quite exciting coming into the last quarter of this year already. We see continued new highs as well. So a little bit about myself. Yes, like Joey said, I'm a chartered financial analyst. But what does it mean? It just means I spend a lot of time looking at the economy and the specific stocks fundamentals to actually determine how the economy moves with each stocks. All right. Okay. So without further ado, I'll pass the time back to Joey, to kickstart today's session.
All right, thank you so much, Bervyn. All right, and yeah, I have with me as well today Zee. All right, Zee, who has been joining me on our AMAS session as well every single Friday. So Zee is an expert, right, in what we call charting, right? Anything to do with charts, right? Technical analysis, your candlestick, your price action, your patterns, whatever. All right. Zee is the go-to expert. She has been with me for more than 4 to 5 years now, one of the top brokers in Philip Securities under me, running our group coaching sessions, our one-on-one sessions with our mentees, assisting our team's portfolio manager as well. All right. And he's a CMT chartered holder, CMT, right? That means basically just chart expert. All right. So yeah, she knows the one good trend strategy inside out. All right. And maybe I can pass the mic to Zee, right, to share a little bit on herself. Zee.
All right, thanks, Joey. Hi, everyone. My name is Zee. Nice to see you guys here today, especially for those who are new. Yeah, so like what Joey mentioned, I've got a charter in market technician, whereby basically it just means that I look at charts, right? And been with Joey's team for I think over 5 years now. And for those of you guys who have been joining us for the past few sessions, right? You guys should have already known that I always say that I don't like to overcomplicate things, right? Just make things. Don't overcomplicate it, because if let's say you are looking at a chart and you have so many indicators, you might have analysis paralysis. You don't really know what to focus on. Then you think that, should I take an action? Should I not? Right? So moving forward, right, later within the one and a half to about 2 hours, right, Joey will actually show you, and 3 of us will actually analyze stocks, right, that you guys actually requested with Joey's 1GT Pro indicator. And that indicator, right, will actually make your trading journey less intimidating as well, and also simplify things for you, whereby with just a click of a button, you can actually have a quick opinion, right, on the stock, whether is it bullish, bearish, is there bullish signal, bearish signals, and things like that, right? So without further ado, I think we will try to cover as many stocks as possible today, and I'll pass the time back over to Joey to actually kickstart today's session.
All right, thank you so much. We try our best, guys. So I know sometimes in the chat, right, our apologies if we cannot cover all your US stocks. So every time we look at the chat, guys, then we feel like, wow, there's like 50, 60, 70, 80 over stocks sometimes, right? And we only can do, I would say, average each session, all right, about 15 over stocks, right? 15 over stocks. So hopefully we can cover your stocks, right? And I know some of you are already typing the US stocks in the chat. So thank you so much. But what you want to do, right? And that's where we'll give you more priority, all right? Is that when you type the stock, right, give us a bit of context. All right, what do you mean by context? That means let us know. Don't just type one name like Apple, then what do you want to know about Apple, right? Are you looking to buy, to sell? What price you got in last week, last month? You buy for 10 years? I don't know, right? So give us a bit of context so that is when we analyze the stock, we can kind of like tilt the analysis more towards the context that you're given based on your question. Does it make sense about? All right, so that's why we give you more priority. All right, Ken? Okay, so let me just go to get started right now. Just a quick disclaimer, guys, as usual. This entire session, the live session, is just all for education purposes only. So please do your own due diligence, the standard disclaimer that we share. I'm not ready to ask you to buy or sell anything, or not to buy or not to sell. All right, but essentially just to give you guys an opinion based on a proven strategy, based on the one good trend strategy. All right, and the tool that we're using, the One Good Trend Pro indicator that we're using, all right, to help you out and give you a little bit of a direction and focus as well. All right. Okay, so now let's go to cover what we call the markets right now. Just type an M for markets, guys. If you want me to cover very quickly the markets to see what has happened, I would say over the past few weeks. Just type an M for markets. Let me know. Type an M for markets. Right, if you can do a quick market outlook, maybe I can share with you guys what has happened. All right, I'll be looking to be more bullish as we head into the end of 2025. Or maybe you want to be careful because maybe some heavy selling can come back. All right, maybe it might go all the way down. Let me know. Type M for market. Right, let's see. Bagwan, M, market as well. John, market as well. All right, very quickly, let's see who is asking about the market, or should we just skip it and then maybe cover the stocks directly? Let's see, right? Type M for market, let me know. Markets, all right. So quite a lot of you asking about the market, right? Chin Yong as well, market, Hope market as well. Okay, so very quickly, guys, let me go ahead to cover the markets now, all right? And this will be what we call the S&P 500 index. So you can see, right, this is the S&P 500 index. Well, I've already turned on this tool that we have been using, me and my team has been using, right? You can see this is the One Good Trend Pro indicator. So we can turn it on any charts, any asset classes, not just stocks. I mean, this is the market, the S&P 500 index. But look at this, right? You can see that we could turn it on, pump, blank, nothing, right? It's just the price. You need the price, no price, nothing to see, so definitely you need the price, right? But once you turn it on, pump, it comes out with green, bullish signals, or maybe red bearish signals, right? So you can see, I will not go too far, but it's not always bullish all the way. Sometimes you get red bearish signals. That was in S&P 500 index. That was in like March, right? March, we got two bearish signals. Then what happened, right? S&P went from 6,002 down, all the way to 5,002. Dropped by 1,000 points. All right. And then what happened? We got a new 1GT bullish signal coming out. Of course, some other confirmations in terms of the short-term trend turning up as well. And there we go, right? We saw the rally from 5,004 all the way to about 6,006 now. All right. Of course, a couple of bullish signals coming out. All right. A bearish signal as you saw a bit of a profit taking. All right. And we got a new bullish signal. So look at this right over here, guys. I mean, this is some of the alerts that I've set. I mean, nothing to do with US stocks, but okay, maybe you can hide the banner, Z. Just hide the banner right here. Yeah, right over here. So you can see, guys, bottom left, right, there's what we call alerts, right? Alerts right over here. So I've set some alerts such that, not just on like the markets or maybe US stocks or Singapore stocks as well, right? Whenever there's any alert, there'll be a pop-up over here. So you can see these alerts, right, would be if we have any bullish or bearish signals coming out, right? So of course, for this most recent bullish, you're going to just close off this, right? So you can see, I think this is what SIA, look at SIA today, not Singapore, but it seems like SIA got some alert, okay? You guys can check it out, right? Okay, but anyway, let's take a look, right? We got a 1GT bullish signal. So of course, we're alerted to it. There'll be a pop-up over here. We can go and check our alerts list over here as well. And most recently, this bullish signal came out somewhere in like August, right? Chop of August. So I think not too bad, right? The market, the S&P 500 index has been pretty bullish. We have been talking about since May, right? Because in April, we have tariffs and all that. Since May, de-escalation in tariffs, the tensions between US and China, a lot of trade deals being made. The market has rebounded, right? And then we move on to what we call interest rate cuts that, we've been talking about it for a couple of months, but what happens is over the past 2 days, in fact, just yesterday, like 2 nights back, right, the Federal Reserve have officially cut rates for the very first time this year by 0.25%. So the Fed fund rate now is now 4% to a range of 4.25%, right? So the very first cut today, and the Federal Reserve have also penciled in one or two more rate cuts up to the end of the year. That's why we're seeing renewed strength, all right, in the market, all right, especially in some of the technology stocks as well as we head into the next weeks or maybe up to the end of the year. So I think that is the news, not really on tariffs, right? Tariffs, I mean, yeah, ongoing once a while. There might be some talk about US and China, about some trade deals being made. But I think right now the focus has been on rate cuts. And yes, right, we finally had the rate cut just 2 nights back announced. That is more or less expected, because people have been talking about it since like 1 or 2 months ago. So more or less expected. But now, because he never just say rate cut and then full stop, right, or nothing, no more. Next year then we cut again. No, right? He said, we do a rate cut by 0.25%. Potentially this year up to end of 2025, 1 or 2 more. All right, and that's where he's taking what we call a stance that's more aggressive in cutting rates, because he doesn't want the economy to soften too much with unemployment data going up, economic data kind of softening as well. You want to make sure that the economy is soft as well. And now looking at how tariffs have affected inflation as well. All right, inflation is still not like spiking up and stuff, still maintaining. So I think that's why there's more keen to gradually cut rates now, and that's why we're seeing a bit of more strength, because it's not just one rate cut and full stop, but one rate cut and potentially 1 or 2 more this year as well. And that could be a catalyst, right, for more strength for the entire market. So you can see, right, very quickly, we got a 1GT bullish signal right over here coming out. The longer term trend, look at the red and the blue line, right? I mean, since like a few weeks back last month, we officially got the confirmation that the longer term trend has turned up as well, right? How do we know that? Well, very simple. When the red line, 100 days moving average line, crosses above the blue 200 days moving average line, that will be where the longer term trend has officially turned up. Right? That's where we would get the confirmation that now, over the next 6 months to a year or more, we are starting to see signs of the longer term trend slowly take shape. All right. The short-term trend, well, very simple. Then when we look at what we call the green line, this green line since April, end of April or May, right, has been I think still up for now. Don't you bluff yourself. You can see obviously the green line is still up as another confirmation, right? So that's where we could see more signs of strength. I think right now, what we could do would be this 6,500. So I mentioned, right, the 6,500 level was a very key psychological resistance level for the S&P 500 index, right? Since August, we touched like 3-4 times, always come back down, right? Cannot cross the 6,005. And I mentioned that if we can break the 6,005, all right, but don't break and then come back down, not counted, right? You want to break and then you want to stay above it, all right? That is where we could start to see more strength, all right? Has it happened? Yes, in fact, it has happened over the past 1 over week. Like you can see that since last week, we kind of went above the 6,500. Now we are 6,631. In fact, above 6,006 already. So as long as we stay above the 6,005, let me just change this red line to a green color line. 6,005 would be a near-term support level. Maybe even 6,006, but 6,006 is only like 1 or 2 days above, so we have to see first. But 6,005, we have been above for more than a week. Does it make sense? All right. And if we stay above 6,005, that is where potentially we could see renewed strength. Targets could be revised, maybe all the way up to 6,800 as well. And you can look at the 6,500 support level. You can see it kind of like coincides with where the green 20 days moving average line is, right? That offers a little bit of what we call a dynamic support level. So 6,500 level is key. In fact, we kind of like headed down somewhere on Wednesday. All right, we got a long lower shadow, of course, some candlestick price actions that confirms that as a good support. That would be good as well. So yeah, we did see some bargain hunting coming back as well as we sold down towards the 6,500. Right, so this is the S&P 500 index. Not too bad. All right, we are starting to see renewed strength in the market based on what has happened over the past 2 days due to these rate cuts finally announced for the very first time this year. All right, now let's go ahead to take a look at maybe the Nasdaq Composite Index, right? Very strong. So, the Nasdaq Composite Index kind of like, represents or, tracks the top technology stocks in the US market, right? So it looks, I would say, slightly similar, all right? Slightly similar. Well, we got the very quickly longer term trend has turned up as well. We got one GT bullish signal right over here, all right, on the 29th of April 2025, all right, just about 5 months back. And of course, the green 20 days moving average line that was going down, started to point up as another confirmation all the way up, right? So it still looks pretty good, right? This bullish signal has been in play. In fact, the market has been rebounding right from here all the way to here, 31.6%. All right, is there a bearish signal right now? Is there a red color signal right now? Don't have, right? I mean, what's the bearish should be this thing right over here. If you see a bearish signal, let's say this one, you take and then you like paste over here or maybe here or what, then you want to be careful. I don't know whether your appear when, but if there's no bearish signal, that means it still looks okay. Does it make sense? Well, all right. If you do see a bearish signal, it means that there's some heavy selling coming back in the markets. Of course, not just a bearish signal means you'll crash, but if you see a bearish signal plus some other confirmation, like the short-term trend turning down, all right, and we break what we call a trailing support. That is where we potentially may see a retracement or reversal back down. But from what I'm seeing right now, don't have all right. It's still looking more bullish. We've been talking about it for the past few months. It is still looking more bullish. Based on this recent announcement on rate cuts, I think it can be even more bullish. Does it make sense, all right? So that would be the Nasdaq Composite Index. Okay, very quickly now let's go ahead to cover the US stocks that you guys are asking about. Let me just go ahead to look through the chat messages, right? So what you do right now, guys, is to type in the chat the US stocks that you want a quick opinion on, right? So give us a bit of context, like I mentioned just now. Type the name of the stock, give us a bit of context. Are you looking to buy, to sell? All right, maybe you're holding for 1 year, 5 months. All right, what price do you buy? What price do you sell? I don't know, right? Give us a bit of context so that we'll give you more priority, and that's where hopefully we'll come like pick the one that you ask lah. All right, so let's do our best. Let me just go to look through the stocks right now. Okay, let's see. Right, we have. Okay, let me just pick the very first one out. So give me some time, guys, because the very first time I'm looking at the chat right now. Let me just see. We have. Okay, let me just pick the first one right over here by Wilson, right? Wilson, good to see you as well. I think Wilson, you do join us every single Friday as well, right? Okay, Micron, MU. It broke 160 to an ATH all-time high. Can we buy into this trend or wait for a consolidation? All right, wait for consolidation. Very good. Let's go to find out Micron, M-I-C-R-O-N, Micron. MU. There we go. Let's take a look at Micron. All right. Wow. Not too bad, right? So you can see this is Micron, guys. I mean, of course, I've turned on the bullish signals based on the One Good Trend Pro indicator. Let's turn it on. Pump. There we go. Comes out. All right. So let's take a look at your question. So I think, Wilson, you're looking to buy. All right. You did not buy like last month or last week. I mean, if you have got it, then well, not too bad, but it's gone up a bit already. So can we still buy even though it's more expensive? Can we buy into this trend or maybe wait for a consolidation? All right. So let's take a look very quickly for Micron. Right. You can see that for Micron, since like 2024, well, we got a couple of bearish signals. Like you can see that, bearish signals right here. We went down from 150 to 130, 130 go until $80, right? But somewhere around May, I think it started to wake up. Started to wake up somewhere around May. We got a bullish signal. The green line turns up, all the way up. All right. Then we got a bearish signal in like July. All right. In July, came down a bit. The short-term trend turned down. All right. But let's see what has happened over the past, 2 months. All right. Maybe one over a month. Well, we got one GT bullish. The first one coming out. A second one just came out like last week, all right? And the longer term trend is up. Look at this, the red and blue line is up, fine. Green line, look at the green line. So the green line was up, all right? From May, up until July. July come down, we got bearish signal, right? As another confirmation of weakness. So you can take some profit, get out first, all right? Wait for the time to get back in again, right? Did the time come? Yeah, it came, right? Right over here was down. The green line started to point up as another confirmation of the short-term trend turning up. Does it make sense? And we got 2 1GT bullish signal. So I think not too bad. I mean, preferably if you have been alerted to these bullish signals, Wilson, then even better. Let's say you get in near like 132, 133, or maybe if when we got this bullish signal coming in, getting near 120, 110, even better. All right. But of course, now it has gone up already. You can see that we have broken this very key resistance at 130. So 130, look at this. 130 is what we call a psychological resistance level. Near it here in June came down. August starts come down, but 2 weeks back never come down, right? Wow, it broke above the 130, go to 131, 132, 134, right? And of course, we got another 1GT bullish signal coming out. So that's why we can see more strength. In fact, the strength has played out. We have pushed higher all the way to 168 right now. So if you look at the parts, look at the parts, right? Well, we are pretty much at what you see, right? ATH, all-time high. So what could be what we call a consolidation resistance, whereby some selling might come back again. Well, we're not able to see from the previous high. Why? Because we're already all-time high, right? If you're like Mount Everest right now, you look at Bukit Timah Hill, then it's like there's nothing to see, right? So what can we do to see if there's any resistance level? Well, I would say that the psychological resistance quite clearly would be around $200. That would be what we call a psychological level. And one thing to take note is that you can see that we have also yesterday, of course, with the announcement of the rate cuts and stuff, right? Micron being in the semiconductor sector has benefited as well. You can see that we have broken the 160. Look at this right over here, right? So 160 was pretty much the resistance in June last year. We kind of like touch it, we got a bearish signal. It starts coming down all the way, right? So 160, we have gone above it yesterday, right? In fact, after consolidating about 4 or 5 days below 160, yesterday we went above 160, right? So now it's like 168. Does it make sense? All right. So it's even more bullish already, right? It's even more bullish already, right? I mean, if you have got in like a few days before it broke 160, even better. But of course, now we have broke 160, now it's 168. These two bullish signals seems to be playing out. Short-term trend up, long-term trend up. I think we could potentially move even higher faster, all right? So what we could do is that this 160 could, it's only 1 day, all right? So we need a bit more time, but this 160 could be what we call a new horizontal support level. So we can, consolidate above it over the next few days, next week even, all right? That could be a good entry, all right? Of course, as I say, it might be a bit more expensive than last month over here, Of course, if you get in over here, that'll be better, But now, there's more upside momentum. It could continue to push higher even faster, maybe to 180, maybe to 200 as well. So that could be what we call the next upside target. So I think in terms of like an entry, right? well, I'm more bullish in this company, right? So if you're holding on to it, great, then probably let it ride more, let it go up more. But if you're looking to buy, it's a bit more expensive, but doesn't mean more expensive means cannot go up some more, right? It can still have more potential. You could wait for a little bit of a pullback, maybe near the support at 160 to 165 to see if you can time your entry to get back in, right? So these are some of the confirmations we look for an entry. Okay, Ken, so this Micron, not too bad. Bullish signals are still in play. You can potentially put it in your watch list to ride even further. So very good. Thanks for sharing on this stock, Micron. All right, let me go ahead to pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next US stock. Bervyn, all yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so that was Micron. Next up, I think John is asking this question. I bought ASML at 707 average price, 223 shares, stop loss at 695, target price at 985. Do you think this stock can hit my target or sell? Well, John, thanks for that really detailed trading plan. I think that could help us, or we can actually just take a deeper look. Right, let's take a deeper look into ASML right here on my screen. Let's just go back a little bit. Let's just go back a little bit. I think sometime in May of last year, I think ASML hit its all-time high of 1080 right here around the 1080. That's when we actually saw sellers, come back in, pushing prices down. That 20 days moving average, following prices as well, coming down, and prices had at that point started, all right, a lower high formation. That 100 days moving average also crossing below that 200 days moving average. Prices finding a somewhat of a bottom at around that 600 level sometime earlier this year. That's when I think prices actually started to rebound. Right, Right, so John, I don't know when you actually buy. Hopefully you bought it when there was some confirmations. Right here, the 20 days moving average starting to point up. Right, that's around the 700 mark as well. The 100 days moving average started to slope up as well. That 200 days started to flatten out a little bit. Yes, I think that is when that reversal actually started to happen. And right here in July, all right, sometime in the mid of July, right here, actually see that 100 days moving average crossing above that 200 days moving average. Again, that good start, or that potential good start of the reversal onto that uptrend. And I see that the 20 days moving average had indeed rebounded from that 200 days moving average in the nearer term when prices actually retraced as well. In the more recent days, definitely, John, do we see that 100 days and 200 days moving average pointing up? Right, definitely still pointing up. And that 20 days moving average is of course also still pointing up. All right, John, so I think that's still a starting good sign, and prices have just last night gapped up. That's a pretty big gap up in that sense as well. So with your average cost price about 707, you would probably be sitting on very good profits already. That is close to a 30% profit. So you are thinking that my target price or your target price is close to the 985 level. Let's see if there's any resistance at the 985 level. Yeah, I think there is somewhat of a resistance close to that $1,000 level. That $1,000 level, I think, would be a key level to watch out for. But you're right, I think 985 would be potentially a resistance level, because it can be quite hard. It can be quite hard to sell exactly at that resistance, and more likely than not, you may see sellers actually coming in close to that $1,000 level. So letting go at 985 is a good plan. So far, I think your plan is pretty good. But whether will prices continue on this trajectory, I think let's take a deeper look. I think we can find a little bit of a temporary support right here around that 920 level. Why? Is because previously prices have rebounded from this level once. Previously was very close to a lower high, a resistance level at that point, and now it has turned into a temporary support. So I think, John, you may want to set up some alerts just under the 920 level. Just get yourself alerted if that support doesn't hold. Why? It is because we may see that sellers come back in, taking control, pushing prices back down to the 840 level. That's not what you want, right? You want to protect more profits, not protect less profits, or even worse, go back into losses, right? So let me just turn on that 1 GT bullish signal right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 days ago, we have a 1 GT bullish signal, see, right here. And I think sometime in August we had another 1GT bullish signal. So there's two 1GT bullish signals still valid at this point. Good signs. These are all good signs so far. All signs are pointing towards that momentum being able to continue, as long as, right, there's a condition, as long as the 920 support can continue to hold. So we may expect, or you can expect, a little bit of a consolidation, which is normal, which is good, which is healthy for a uptrend reversal, or in fact for any uptrend. So I think you want to just watch out for this level. You can get out, reduce a little bit of exposure when prices approach that $1,000 level. So you got 223 shares, great. Maybe let go 1, 2, 3 shares, or let go 100 shares. Just trim a little bit of those positions. Enjoy your profits. And if prices break above that 1,000 level, at least you have continued exposure to the upside. And if prices are not able to hold above that 920 level, maybe perhaps that's when you can set a stop limit order, get out, and still get out with profits and wait for that stabilization to come in once again. Right, the stabilization of the 20 days moving average, stabilization of the 100 and 200 days moving average before getting in once again. Alternatively, all right, this is also what I usually advise as well. You can use that trailing support to actually use it as a reference for your stop limit orders, But right now that trailing support is playing a little bit of catch up. Why? It's because this trailing support actually takes into account the volatility of the stock. So the more volatile the stock, or the bigger the movement of the stock, you would see that this price is actually quite far from that trailing support. So just have maybe perhaps if you are using that trailing support as a reference level, you can put the stop limit almost maybe 2% below that trailing support, just to get out with some profits. But I think in the nearer term case, you just want to monitor the 920 being able to continue to hold, and then prices heading towards that 1,000 level. So I think, John, so far so good for ASML. It still looks like that reversal into the uptrend is still playing out. Perhaps even that 1,000 level is broken. You want to have some alerts, because that's when I think you can enter, or you'll be entering into the next leg of the uptrend. All right, okay, John. So I think that is for ASML. Hopefully that helps. I think continue to have a trading plan. That's awesome. I'll pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Bervyn. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, and the next stock that I think I'll be covering will be from Dixon, right? Hi, Dixon. Nice to see you here as well. You said you have entered Hood and Sophie. Hood at 117, Sophie at 27.5. Any suggestion on exits or hold on long term? Okay, so maybe for a start, let me just cover Hood lah. All right. Okay, so for Hood, right over here, right, as you can see, definitely uptrend for this counter is intact, right? In terms of the longer term trend, when we focus on the red and the blue line. And by the way, if you guys are using TradingView as well, you guys can also have this option to see, some of the latest updates, right? And this is one of the counters that's also in my watch list as well, and also recently, right, I think they have unveiled, because Hood is actually, for those who don't know, right, Hood is actually an American online brokerage platform. And I think it's quite popular in the US basically, and it's similar to something like Mumu Tiger in like Singapore context, right? And they recently included short selling futures trading and AI features, and all of these I think are catalysts for this stock as well. So that's the reason why we are also seeing some renewed strength for this counter, right? For this counter, especially so as you can see right over here, it has also recently gapped up So let's take a look at some of the levels, right, that perhaps we can take note for this counter, right? So like what I've mentioned earlier on, uptrend for this counter definitely still intact, right? But somewhere in August, we started to see that, the 20 days moving average has started to flatten out, right? It's not as steep as before anymore, as we see, in like April and May right over here. It has started to flatten out, and prices have started to consolidate sideways for a bit, right? And when it consolidates sideways, there is a lower boundary and upper boundary, right? Usually that is what happens during consolidation. And the lower boundary is usually what we call like a support level, right? So right over here, based on the price action that you can see, prices have been testing this $100, right? And $100 is also what we call a psychological level, right? So as you can see over here, prices have been testing, buyers have been coming in to support the prices every time it is near this $100 psychological support, right? And also within this period from July, right over here, July, August, all the way to early September, right? even in fact to where we are at now. In fact, it is actually still testing what we call the resistance, right? And I would say the resistance will be somewhere near the 120, right? Near the 120, because right over here you can see in the, I think the first week of August, right? Somewhere first and second week of August, this period right over here, we can see that prices have been constantly, buyers have been coming in to push the price up, attempting to break the 120, but it's unable to, right? And during this period, we actually do see, quite a number of bearish candlesticks, especially the red long ones, right over here. And over here, just a week back or so, same thing. Prices attempted to break above the 120, unable to do so, right? Selling pressure came back down. But yesterday, it seems like we have broken above the 120, right? But if I were to really zoom in and focus on this particular candlestick, actually, even though this candlestick is green, but maybe you guys can let me know. Do you think this candlestick, right, is it bullish or bearish? Maybe you guys can let me know to not so boring for you guys, you can interact with me for a bit, right? Whether is this particular candlestick, right, is it bullish or bearish? What do you guys think? Maybe you can let me know in the chat. Yesterday's candlestick, the one that I've circled, is it bullish or bearish? First last say is bearish. Okay. Vincent, shooting star, bearish. Okay. Anybody else? Ray also said it's bearish, right? Bear. Okay, great. A lot of you guys say it is bearish. Great. Even Dixon, you also mentioned that it's bearish. Yeah. For me, what I think is that this particular candlestick, right, is actually bearish. Even though it is green, it is still bearish. Why? Because we are seeing a long upper shadow, right? And some of you guys have also said it's like the shooting star, right? But bearish, right? Yeah. So this is what I think as well. And also, right, it is happening right at the resistance level, which is the 120, right? So the thing is that for the next couple of days, I think, or the next week or so, it is good for you to actually monitor whether this 120, right, can actually hold. Because if it doesn't, it is still testing this level. What can we potentially see is that we can still continue to see maybe a potential sideways consolidation within this 100 to 120 range as well, right? Even though now we are seeing some, some strength in terms of the 20 days moving average starting to point up, but I think 120, this level will be one of the very crucial levels. So as you can see over here, I already set my alerts, my price alert right over here, right? About 122, right over here. If prices can break and hold, every time it breaks this 120, it will actually alert me, and then I'll go in and take a look at this stock. Okay, so if prices can break and indeed hold above this 120 right over here, right, I think potential upside targets, right, that we are actually looking at would be about $20 range, from the 100 to 120, because this was the consolidation range that it was trading for a couple of months. We projected up. The next upside targets that we are looking at would be towards the 140 right over here. Right, so in terms of, wait, let me pull out Dixon comment, right over here. You mentioned you entered at about 117. So it's actually pretty close to the 120 resistance level, the 120 resistance. So the thing is that for you, perhaps you might want to consider to actually monitor your downside as well, right? To manage your downside, to have some stop loss plan in place if let's say prices doesn't continue to break and hold above the 120, right? And then that is where you can use the trading support like I just turned on somewhere below the 100, right over here. This is where potentially you can consider to set some stop loss, right? So stop limit order to actually protect your downside while actually continue to actually ride the uptrend. Because like what we've mentioned earlier on, and we all can see over here, right, the longer term trend, the red and the blue line, in fact, is actually still intact, right? It's actually still intact. So if you are not in a rush to actually take profits, right, it is okay not to take profits. But even if you want to actually take some profits, right, there is nothing wrong. I would say there is nothing wrong to take profits, especially when we are following Joey's, one good trend framework, right? There is nothing wrong to actually take profits near the resistance level. Don't have to take all, maybe take 1/3, half of your position is also okay. But I think what we are seeing right now, longer term uptrend still looks intact now. So I think will be crucial to actually monitor definitely this 120 for now. All right. So for Dixon, I hope that helps some of the levels that perhaps you can take note and remember to actually manage your downside as well. Okay. So that would be all for Hood. I will pass the time back over to Joey to actually cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, very good analysis there on Hood. Now let's move on to the next one, and that would be, I would say, Microsoft. I think Kenneth hopefully is still over here. Microsoft, Kenneth, MSFT. Microsoft would be 520525. Be a good place to sell calls near term, right? To sell calls near term, wow, sounds a bit complicated. So those of you who are new to this, not too bad, Kenneth, I think you're looking about call options. So basically you're looking to sell what we call a covered call option, all right? And let me just explain a little bit, right? I mean, we're not doing an options calls over here, but those of you who are looking at call, right? Essentially, when you're selling a call, a covered call, you're expecting prices to stay below what we call a resistance level. So if it stays below that level, the resistance level, below a price level, that's where you could collect what we call premiums, like free money, right? As long as it stays below a certain level, right? So I think kind of your question is that, would 520, 525 right over here be a place to sell calls, and that would be around the exercise price. That means, to keep it simple, will Microsoft stay below the 520 to 525 over the next 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, so that you can collect some premium lah? Does it make sense, fun? All right. Okay, so let's go to analyze this right now, all right, in terms of the question, right? So I think for Microsoft, very simple. Let's just put the call options aside, all right? Let's take a look at what I think Microsoft could be doing over the next few weeks, right? So very simple, right? You can see that this Microsoft, well, we have turned into a longer term uptrend. Look at the red and the blue line since like July. Red went above the blue, both pointing up. So the longer term trend has already turned up since 2 months back, right? Since 2 months back, right? In case you're still wondering when, right? 2 months back, the longer term trend is up. So we are looking definitely more bullish already, right? And if you look back even further, right? Somewhere around beginning of the year, well, we were not always so bullish, right? In fact, somewhere in January, in February, even before all these tariffs was announced by Trump in April, we got bearish signal, right? We went from 440 all the way down to 360. Okay, so normally when the bearish signal come out, like what Bervyn and Zee has mentioned as well, we try not to buy loud. We want to be careful. We want to be more cautious. We want to wait for a good time to get back in again, right? Well, before you get in, then you go down, you kind of stuck, right? So we don't do that, right? We want to wait for a reversal signal. Does it make sense, Mark? Did it come? Yeah, it came, right? It came somewhere in like April, right? In fact, that was on the 29th of April. We got a 1 GT bullish signal. In fact, before it started to gap up and push even higher, right? The bullish signal came out around $388, right? 388, we go all the way up to 540, all right? So later I'll scroll into what has happened over the past few weeks, but we got a bullish signal. The longer term trend was sideways. The short term trend, look at the green line, started to turn up, all the way up for like 3-4 months, from May all the way to August. But then the green line, right, somewhere around August, right, started to flatten out and maybe even turn down, or somewhere over the past few weeks. So let's just zoom into what has happened in the past weeks, right? So you can see that this bullish signal has played out, right, from here all the way when we got a bearish signal coming out. 30% in about 4 months. Pretty good, right? I mean, 30%, you can lock in some profits, get out first. So when we see a bearish signal plus maybe the green line pointing down, we can take some profit, get out, right? Why? Because there could be some signs of a retracement of it pulling down even further, even though the longer term trend is up. So some people might say, hey, Joey, but like, we got a bearish signal, right? Bearish signal right over here and a green line pointing down, but the longer term trend is still up, right? Agree, right? The longer term trend is up. There's no problem. Actually, it's still okay one, right? But the short term trend is down, right? So we could go down for like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, I don't know, right? So for all the way down in the short term, right? We could get out first, take some profit, and then wait for the short term trend to also turn back up. Then we think about getting in again. Does it make sense? And when that happens, then all the trend is up already. You see what I'm saying, All right. So has that happened yet? Well, I would say that we are starting to see signs of the green line. So this green line, if you ask me last week, I would say wait I mean, the green line obviously is pointing down, right? Down. But if you ask me like over the past 2 days, right? This green line, the 20 days moving average line, has started to kind of like flatten out. Does it make sense? Well, like down for 3 weeks, starting to flatten out, right? So not too bad, right? There are indeed some signs of a stability being formed, a bit of a bottom, a short-term support coming back. I would say somewhere around the 495 to 490. Look at this, right? A bit of a rebound here, support here, rebounded, all right? And we are potentially seeing some support around the 490, right? So that could be what we call a little bit of a bottom coming back. Prices have gone above what we call the green 20 days moving average line right now. So I would say that, if we can go above that 520, so just take note, I think 520. So I think your question, right, Kenneth, is that would 520, 525 be a good place to sell calls? Well, you can sell a call, right? And you want price to stay below that level, right? Below the 520 or maybe 525. But if the price were to go above those levels, then, you'll be out, right? You get out and then, you will lose that upside momentum, the gain from the upside move, right? So I would say that for me right now, I think Microsoft there could be a potential break of the 520. That there could be a potential break. I mean, look at the green line, right? The green line from down, flatten out, potentially moving up. If we break the 520, I can tell you this green line will start to point up as another confirmation, and that would lead the reversal. That would lead the reversal maybe all the way up to 550 as well. And the key is that if the green line points up and we get another one GT bullish signal, right? Now haven't come out yet, but let's say we get another one GT bullish signal, I can tell you that that will be where we'll be more bullish. We could start to see more upside momentum. Our target could be revised to 550, maybe to 600 as well. Does it make sense, All right. So normally for a bullish stock whereby we think that it can move up, right? That there's potential for it to maybe break the resistance to move higher, then probably would not want to sell a call, because if you break the resistance, it goes higher, you're losing the upside gain. All right. But if you want to sell a call, normally if like a stock is consolidating, right? It touched 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times, every time touch, come back down, and then you could sell a call, maybe just above that resistance level, such that as long as it stays below there, you can continue to collect free money like your premium. That's where we normally sell calls, whereby we think that the price will not, in the short term, right, break above that resistance level. But for Microsoft, we may really break above the 520 to 525, and we may even trigger a new one GT bullish signal, right, with even more confirmations coming in to point to more upside. All right, so that would be for Microsoft, MSFT. I hope that helps, Kenneth. All right, let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next US stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, let's see. Right here. Okay, First Class. Hi, Joey and team. Hi, First Class. Since INTC break the 1 year long down and sideways trend, is it the best time for investment, seeing the 20-day MA is intact? Okay, let's see Intel right here. I think as of last night, I saw that Intel have actually gotten an investment or a stake by NVIDIA as well. So I think a big company is investing in another big company, right? More like also it is trying to help Intel to get a little bit more resources, get a little bit more help in terms of expertise. Maybe there's a potential chance for merger or acquisition. Don't know, it's up for speculation. But as of right now, yes, I fully agree with you that it is currently out of that sideways movement. Previously, yes, it was also in the down move, coming down from that $50 level, forming lower highs at the same time. And sometime in August of last year, it actually broke that $26 level right here, and it came back. All right, it came back and tested. It was pretty much, just consolidating, moving sideways for the entire of the year until yesterday night. It was just from $18 level, went up a little bit, tested that $26 level, came back down, went back up a bit, tested, came back down, went up again. So it's like what Joey said, if you see something like that, then there may be an opportunity for those of you who are selling some options. You may, or selling some covered call, you may do so as well. But if you had sold some covered calls, I think at this point, your covered calls may be exercised tonight already. You'll be assigned already. But no worries, I don't think you are doing that. So is it a good time to invest? So I think you're looking to buy some of these Intel shares. So just zoom into the very near term. We can see over the last 2 weeks or so that 100 days moving average finally crossing above that 200 days moving average. After a year-long consolidation, finally broke above. And then we have that 20 days moving average. All right. Went flat a little bit, and then now it's pointing up again. So I think that key support level, I think, will remain around that $26 level for now, as long as prices are able to hold. But if you're looking for a little bit of a near-term support, we are currently trading very close to it, as prices had previously consolidated very close to this $30 level before breaking under it. All right, prices closed at 30.57 last night. And it looks like as long as we are able to hold, now we are able to hold above this $30 level, I think the next resistance could be towards that $36 level. So I think that could be a target that you can draw for yourself. You're looking to get in close to that support. Or alternatively, I think if you want to monitor for a few days, to see this, if this $30 level is able to hold, I think you can do so as well, because just last night, it was just the first day. right? You're not sure, or nobody can tell you if this support level is going to hold tonight, and then if prices tumble back down to that $26 level, that is also that possibility. I think there is renewed interest, I would say, all right, renewed interest in Intel because of Nvidia's investment into them, and I think the market or the prices are currently showing that, or currently reinforcing that as well. So if you would like to get in, I think maybe this could be an opportunity as well. So if you just turn on that buy or sell signal, I think definitely see 1, 2, 3, 1 GT bullish signal still playing out for Intel. Right, we may see another 1 GT bullish signal comes up if prices hit higher. I think that's hard to say right now. Perhaps the upside target towards that $36 could be a nearer term one first. And if it is able to break higher above that $36 level, yes, then maybe I think that even a $40 psychological level could be back in play. I think all signs pointing towards that reversal still being intact as of now, and you may consider to getting close to that resistance level. And if you're looking to get out, all right, for those of you who have already previously bought some Intel shares, thinking if this gap up is just the end of it, there's also nothing wrong, I would say, to sell some close to the $35, $36 resistance level. I think that's where you can expect some profit taking to come back in. All right. Okay, so I think that's a very, very quick one for Intel. So far, I think that play is still looking quite good. First class, I think, can potentially position yourself for an entry over the next few days, maybe. All right. Okay, so I'll pass the time now to Z to actually cover the next few stocks for you guys. Next stock for you guys. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Bervyn. Okay, so let me share my screen, and I think the next stock that I'll be covering will be by Maureen, right? Hi, Maureen. I hope you are still here. You are asking about ELV, and you said that you bought at 313. So ELV, I go and take a look at it. It's Eleventh Health. Never really follow this counter, but interesting. Let us take a look at this counter and see what are some of the levels, right? That perhaps you can actually take note of. Okay. So for ELV, first thing first, right? When we actually take a look at this stock, one thing that really stands out is that this stock actually in a downtrend, right? Because you can see that it is generally just moving like that, right? It's generally just moving like that, right? And that was even in 2024 when prices, actually broke down, right? And we got like 1 and 2, 1 GT bearish signal. Then prices started coming down, and we get confirmations from the moving averages as well that the downtrend is intact, right? As you can see over here, the red line actually crossed below the blue line, right? The 100 crossed below the 200. And that's not so good. Right? That's not so good. Then subsequently here, we see some renewed strength, right? Some short-term strength coming back, 2 consecutive 1 GT bullish signal. Then potentially, at this point in time, I think maybe there's some like reversal in play, right? But not so. And it didn't play out, right? It didn't play out because we can see that subsequently prices went up, hit a resistance, right? Hit a resistance maybe around 460. The longer term trend at this point in time, the blue line, it has actually still pointed out, and we get 3 consecutive 1 GT bearish signal, and prices continue to actually hit down again. And where are we at right now? We are right over here. Last night, prices closed at 315.77. You say you bought at 313. So probably you're sitting on some profits right now, right? But let's take a look at some of the levels, right? Even though, yes, right over here, we see a 1 GT bullish signal. But overall, the longer term trend is actually still down, right? When we look at this, the red and the blue line is actually still pointing down. So usually when we see like that, you are trying to avoid the counter because you don't want to go against the trend. You want to be aligned with the trend, right? Not just align with the trend in the short term, but align with the trend in the long term, right? So essentially what we want to see is we want to see something like that, right? The green and the red and the blue is actually all pointing up, okay? So if let's say there's some, you see like, the long-term trend point down, the short-term trend point up, then like that, there is some conflicting information really, and that's where we want to try to avoid stocks like that, all right? Okay, so right now, let's see. You said you mentioned you bought at 313, and now yesterday closed at 315. And right over here, we can actually spot some support level, right? We can see that $300 right over here is a psychological support level, right? And over the past, how many, I think it has been probably about 1 month already, right? From right over here, 14 August to where we are at, right? Yeah, probably about 1 month. Prices managed to actually hold above this $300 psychological support level, right? And in terms of resistance during this period, right, it seems like there's some sort of resistance around here, right? 320, right over here, like so. And plus, what can we see based on the 20 days moving average, which is the short-term trend? We can see that, yes, it indeed actually went up, but it has started to flatten out as well, right? It has started to flatten out. And it is very clear that prices, right, is currently kept within this range, the 300 to about 320, this level, right? So if the 20 days moving average, right, continue to flatten out, right, potentially what we can see is, prices continue to trade within this range lah. But do remember that, the longer term trend, it is actually still pointing down. It haven't even flattened out or turned sideways or even show signs of it pointing up yet, right? So I think for Maureen, right, I think perhaps you might want to consider setting some price alert near the $300 level to make sure to protect your downside, right? Because we know that the longer term trend is actually still down. And if prices unable to hold, consolidate, and then it breaks below the 300, that's where you want to be a bit more cautious. Like maybe perhaps you want to think of your, stop loss plan, to think of your downside, right? To manage your risk, right? Because that is where potentially you might see more weakness returning back to this counter, especially so when the longer term trend is still down. All right. So, Maureen, I think that are some of the levels that perhaps you can take note of and think about your downside. All right. Think about your downside, especially so because we don't really want to get into counters that are still in the longer term downtrend. Okay. So that would be all for ELV, 11th Health. I'll pass the time back over to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, and that will be by Bossa Nova. Right, let's take a look at this stock right up here. Right, S&P Global. This is the very first time I'm looking at this stock. All right, SPGI is the code. Right, holding at 520. So you kind of bought it. You're holding on to it at 523. Try add more position. So you bought it. It kind of like went down yesterday. Should buy more or not lah? All right, so let's go ahead to find it out. But before I answer this question, right, I think there's some question as well. I think we have one question by X as well. Hi Joey, can show your US stock screener which ones show buy signal, right? So you and your team can pick to analyze other than the participant stock. All right, very good question. So just to share with you guys that if you want to find out a little bit more, all right, about the entire one good trend strategy, about perhaps even having a tool like this, whereby you could turn it on any asset classes, any stocks, get an opinion whether you see a green bullish signal or a red bearish signal, right? Attend one of those free webinars. Attend the free webinar, right? Team just place the link in the chat, right? So today we have time to cover the entire strategy and perhaps how, like X, you're asking about these screeners. Well, that will be shared in the webinar as well, right? In the free webinar, whereby besides just pulling out any stock or knowing when to buy and sell them, how do we actually filter out the top 1% of stocks, all right? And then know exactly what to do with them, right? That's so much more important. Rather than just picking random stocks, how do we filter the 1%, the top 1%? And then you know when to buy and when to sell them, right? So that's exactly what we'll cover in the webinar, right? So X, just to answer your question, right? Today, basically, as I say, you stay all the way to the end. That's where we'll share with you 3 US stocks that, we got some bullish signals, obviously, right? Because they are from the screener as well. Stay all the way to the end. And that's where we'll share with you guys the 3 top stocks that me, Bervyn and Zee like. But that will be all the way to the end, right? Because if we just cover all the stocks that we like, then this is not called AMAS session. It's not called Ask Me Any Stock. It's called the Stocks I Like session, right? So that's why it's a bit different. We want to give more value to you guys based on the stocks that you guys are asking about, right? So X, join a free webinar. The link is right in the chat if you guys want to find out a little bit more about the entire strategy, the one good trend, pro indicator, even how to have a screener like us to filter out the top 1% of stocks. Link in the chat. Attend a free webinar, all right? And I think we have one webinar next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Let me just go to check the link out, right? In case you guys have not attended yet, you can find a bit more right over here, right? So that is the right over here. Like, let's put it on the screen. Yeah, so you click on the link in the chat, you come to this page, right? How to 3x your stock portfolio in 2025. As I say, right over here, discover a simple tool, right? Simple tool. I think that's what X is asking, the US stock screener, right? So I think maybe you have heard of this screener before. But how do we have this simple tool to identify the top 1% of winning stocks? Right? Not in hours, in seconds. How many seconds? I think 5 seconds. And know exactly when to buy and sell them, right? So I think the next day will be 30th September 2025, Tuesday. 7:30 p.m. Link in the chat. Click on it. You come to this page. That's where you can find out a bit more about what will be covered. Secret number 1, number 2, secret number 3. All right, a little bit of some of the what our graduates and mentees are saying as well. Right. So this is the page. Link in the chat. Check it out. Okay, very good. Now let's move on to the stock that Bosanava is asking about. right over here, all right? S&P Global, SPGI. Okay, so Boursa Nova, all right? You holding it at 523. So I'm not too sure exactly when you bought it, Boursa Nova. 523 could be you bought it like last night, you know, when it came down. Or maybe you can type the chat, Boursa Nova, like you're holding at 523, but when do you buy? Is it last night, or is it like when it was like going up in like July, and then you got it over here, and then you went up, that kind of thing, right? So I'm not too sure exactly, but you can see that quite clearly for this S&P Global. Well, we got a couple of bullish signals. Look at this, right? Pretty good, right? I mean, of course, previously in March, we got pump, 2 bearish signals. Then we got bullish signal coming out. Bullish, right? And it did started to move up, right? From about, I would say, 475 all the way to up a 12% gain in about 4 months. And that's where last night, we actually got what we call a 1 GT bearish signal. All right. So if you tell me you bought last night, then by right should not buy. Like if you tell me you bought over here, you know, when it was going up in July, I think that's fine. I mean, you know, we got bullish signal, the green 20 days moving average line was going up, so it's still okay lah. But normally when we see a bearish signal right over here, right? So that's where, of course, if you have these two, you will be alerted as well, all right? And you don't want to buy, all right? So hopefully you did not buy last night, all right? Because if you buy last night, it cannot be you see a bearish signal, you can buy, then what you can buy, right? I mean, bearish signal means it's going to, you know, seeing some heavy selling, is going down, and plus, you look at the green line, all right? You look at the green line right now, the green line, not just last night, down since last week already was like going up, right? Already started to point down there, right? Point down plus got bearish signal, you still go and buy for what, right? Don't buy lah, right? So hopefully you did not buy last night, all right? Hopefully it was like last month, that one no problem lah. It was going up, then you know, of course today nobody know what will happen. I mean, last night nobody know what will happen, all right? So that's fine. I think it's good to get out if you have got previously you rode the upside, get out, because normally when we see a bearish signal plus some signs of the short-term trend turning down, we could potentially see more selling, right? So I think what you want to look at now is that this 500, right? 500 would be what we call a psychological support level as well. All right, you can see that that's where we have been holding from May all the way to June, rebounded. And yesterday, the low was at about 503. All right, and some buyers came back and it closed at 507. Right, but I think you can agree that it's quite a bearish. I didn't really follow this stock, so I'm not too sure what exactly is the news. Check it out, but I think there's some news on this stock, all right, and we kind of like broke the 535, 540 support, right? So we went all the way to 500. Some bargain hunting came back, but it's still quite a heavy sell down now. So normally, we try not to buy a stock when we get a bearish signal plus the short-term trend is down. We usually want to wait for what we call more confirmation of the reversal before getting back in, right? So back to your question, shall I add more position now? I think, I mean, yeah, $500 would be a psychological support lah, right? But it's, you know, I'm just afraid that would break down. Does it make sense? Right? If $500 were to break down, can we hit even lower to maybe 440, 460? Well, that could potentially happen, right? Because that was where we were in April, right? So it's only one night that we just rebounded slightly $4, right? From 503 go to 507, but I'm not too sure, right? So if you really want to try to get in near 500, we'll have a plan, because if the $500 psychological support breaks down, we could see more selling. Right? We could see more selling all the way to 460, 450, 440. I don't know. Does it make sense, Right? So we usually do not want to buy a stock when we get bearish signals, you know, especially if the short-term trend is still down, especially if there's no kind of like support coming back in terms of a horizontal support coming back and some stability found as well. Does it make sense, All right. So when do we get back in? Well, when we get back in, then it'll be like over here, like you see here. So you can see previously, right? We got like 2 bearish signal, bearish. Then you go and buy for what? Then go down. You go and buy some more, go down, right? Then when to get back in there? Here lah, when you see 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish signal, that's where you get back in, all the way up 22% in 4 months. Does it make sense? Over here as well, you see a bearish signal, you see? All right, bearish signal come out, you go and buy can, then go down some more. All right, so I don't know whether this bearish signal will be like, you know, whether it will be what we're seeing now, like for this one that just came out last night lah. But you get the point, right? I mean, you see a bearish signal, you go and buy, then go down some more, you might get stuck, right? So we don't want to buy when we see a bearish signal. We want to buy when there are signs of a reversal. Like over here in April, May, when we get a bullish signal coming out. Then you get back in again. Then you ride the reversal. You see what I'm saying, All right. So hopefully you get my point, right? So probably not want to add more position now to a losing position, right? More to get out to reduce our exposure. That's what we're going to do whenever we see a bearish signal, not to go and buy more, but to get out. All right, okay. So that would be S&P Global, SPGI. Let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next US stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, let's see. Let me just throw it up here. Okay, Chiseng. Hi, Chiseng. Good morning. Welcome back. How are you? Tesla, I bought at USD 263. Still have potential upside, or should I sell? I think the first part of your question, bought at 263. Firstly, I think congratulations. I think it finally broke out of that 365 resistance level, now turned into a support already. That's great. So I think you have been holding on for it for quite a little while. So in 263, right around here where you bought. And right now, oh, that's already a 64% gain already. Yeah, so I think not too bad, right? Not too bad. So it's still got potential upside. So thinking whether you should take profit. Yeah. Okay, so I think not too bad. I think the past week or so, I think Tesla have seen very, very good up moves since I think last Friday broke above that 365. Now looking like it's firmly holding above it. Right, previously it had been consolidating for quite a while, since May up to September, about 4 months or so. So I think right now that 20 days moving average, look at it right here. It is currently where the previous resistance was at, that 365 level, now turned into a support. So I think right now many buyers are looking at this 365 level as a key level to actually watch out for. So if prices hit back there, you could see some buyers come in as well. Potentially, don't know, but we have to, if prices hit back down, then we will find out. But we got 2-1 GT bullish signals that actually showed up, I think, late August and early September. Right, and prices are now currently trading very, very close to that immediate resistance of about 440, where previously, sometime in January, this was a resistance. And now we are back here once again after 9 months. So is it time to take some profit, Chiseng? I think it is completely okay to take partial profits. Right? Take partial profits. Why? Is because this can continue to play out. Because that 20 days moving average, that 100 days moving average is sloping up already. Still under that 200 days moving average, cannot bluff ourselves, haven't crossed yet. So by the moment when it crosses, yes, I think the longer term reversal into an uptrend could then start to play out, and then you may even see that 440 level, the 440 resistance give way. But will it cross above, or will prices continue to hit higher? Unfortunately, nobody will be able to tell you. But I guess if it doesn't cross above or it comes close, prices may be already very close to that resistance level where sellers actually want to come in. So maybe just take a partial profit, or then you can leave a little bit of position to actually ride any further upside. Right, so if I were to just turn on that trailing support and resistance right here, you can see that that trailing support is right around that 350 plus level as well. Very, very, very close to that 365 level. So this could be potentially a level where you actually want to watch out for. So I think for yourself, I think you are able to set an alert, but not just any alert, not just any price alert, but a 1 GT buy or sell alert right here. I think you can set up some alerts. Why? Is because if prices hit back down, break below that trailing support, you may want to get out. Right? So you want to be alerted towards that. But I think for yourself, if prices actually break above this 440 level, you may receive, or you may see another 1 GT bullish signal actually just show up right here. Then the upside can continue towards where? I think the immediate upside would be definitely towards that 480 high. Right, that 480 high, I think, could be the next level to actually watch out for, where you can continue to do some profit taking. So I think is prices able to go down to 365 for those of you who are looking to buy? I'm not too sure, but I think another potential entry point, which could be possible right now, would be a break above this 440. Why? Is because that's where you can potentially see a 1 GT bullish signal, like I've mentioned, and this resistance could then turn into a support where a new entry would then be possible, or you can position for yourself for an entry there as well. So I think Chiseng, just watch the 100 days, 200 days moving average. Once it crosses above each other, I think that longer term trend is back. All right. And if that 20 days moving average continues to head higher and the trailing support continues to head higher, I think you also may want to also set up some stop limit orders just below that trailing support, just to get alerted, and then if prices break below that trailing support, take some profits then. All right, but so far looking good. The new up move still showing strength, although prices were a little bit down last night, but still looking pretty strong so far. All right, Chiseng. So pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock for you guys.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so the next stock that I have over here would be by Winky, right? Winky is asking about UnitedHealth Group. Price seems to go to correction. Recently, there was dividend payment. Is the current level support looking strong? And with 1 GT sustain, you are looking to buy into this because Buffett is holding. Okay, let's take a look at this stock. Maybe let me hide the comment or I show the shorter one. Okay, so that it doesn't really block the chart. All right. So since just now the last stock that I covered was also a healthcare stock, right, I believe, and it was also in the similar trajectory. Let's take a look at this stock as well, right, and see what are some of the levels that perhaps Winky you can actually take note, and also whether the support level is actually what is the support level that you should actually take note of and set some price alert lah. All right. Okay. So first thing first, I mean, of course, when we look at this stock once again, long-term trend is definitely still pointing down, right? Red and the blue is actually still pointing down. Right, but short-term trend, like Winky has mentioned, right? Yes, indeed, we are seeing some strength returning, right? And what do we see? We see 1 and 2 1 GT bullish signal, and the 20 days moving average. Yes, it has actually pointed up, right? And it has also, I think just a couple of days back, maybe 1 week ago, like 11 September, it actually crossed the 100 days moving average. Those are good signs in terms of the short-term strength, right? But ideally, the 1 GT framework, right, is all about being on the right side of the trend with the highest probability. And that being said, it's not just purely looking at a short-term trend, but we also want to make sure that the longer-term trend is actually also up, right? So that the chances of you being on the right side, right, and the prices moving up, right, is higher, right? So that's the whole reason why we don't just purely focus on the short-term trend, we also focus on the longer-term trend at the same time, right? But at this point in time for United Healthcare, we are seeing that the longer-term trend is actually still down, right? Still down, right? And in terms of the immediate support level, right? The immediate support level right over here, I think it'll be around this 325, right? Right over here. Maybe I should turn this to a green because this is the new higher support that's been found, right? Prices have actually broke above this level because this level, as you can see over here, somewhere in July, right? This level was tested, right? It was actually a resistance back here, right? Back in June, July, right over here, right? And then from August, right, all the way to early September, it was kind of just hovering sideways, unable to break above the 325. But recently, yes, it has broken above the 325, and we also got a new 1 GT bullish signal, and this is the new higher support level that has been found, right? So I think for Winky, right, you might want to actually set some price alert near this support level, especially this 320 to about 325. This level right over here, I would say this would be the support zone, the new support zone to actually take note of, right? Because if let's say this support zone doesn't hold, we would probably go back down, the weakness, we might see more weakness back towards the 250, right over here, 225 to 250, this level, this lower support zone, right over here, right? Especially so when we are seeing that, the longer term trend, right, is still actually pointing down, right? It's still pointing down for the longer term trend. So right now you were saying that just now you were also sharing you are looking to buy into this because like Buffett is actually holding, right? But the thing is that sometimes as you guys know, right, sometimes Buffett is more of, I would say, like a contrarian investor as well, whereby he's actually looking for undervalued stocks. And usually sometimes, most of the times, in fact, if you look at undervalued stocks, sometimes, right, the trend is that they are actually in a downtrend one. They are, the blue is actually above the red and it's actually above the green. And we are looking at charts like this, right? But based on the 1 GT framework, we are actually, in fact, looking at charts whereby it is looking like this, right? It's actually going up, right? It's actually going up. So the thing is that there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. Winky, but perhaps you might have to think about which strategy you're more comfortable with, because yeah, there are some people that you don't mind buying at a lower price, right? But But the cons that you have to think about would be that, are you willing to actually, you know, hold for a longer period of times and things like that, whereby Buffett, right, have the money to actually hold and the time horizon to actually hold it, right? So that might not be available for, you know, you and me, like, you know, normal retailers like us, because we are not at Buffett level, right? So there are some of the things that perhaps you can think about as well. But in terms of this right now, based on the 1GD framework, like what I've mentioned, longer term trend is still not really there yet, right? We at least want to see that, you know, the red and the blue line is actually kind of like heading sideways, or even show signs of it pointing up. Then that is where then we might want to consider taking a look at this stock to actually potentially position ourselves for entry. So I wouldn't rush into, you know, getting into any positions for this stock at this point in time, right? Because like what I've mentioned, longer term trend is still down. Okay, so I hope that helps, Wenki, to give you a perspective on this particular stock and something for you to think about, to think whether just because Buffett is buying, should I be buying, right? So that's something for you to consider as well. All right, so that will be for United Healthcare, and I will pass the time back over to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, very good one. Let's go ahead to cover the next one very quickly. And that will be asked by Benjamin. Right, Benjamin, I hope you're still joining us here. All right, thank you so much. I think I see you every Friday live as well. Okay, let's see, Benjamin, what's your question? Hi, Joey and team. I entered Crowdstrike CRWD at around $450. Wow, not too bad, right? 450. All right, not too sure whether you entered like over the past few days or maybe last month. All right, but okay, good price, right? 450. It has pushed up to $502 last night, right? $502, right? There may be a resistance at 510 to 520 region. All right, let's find out what is the key resistance level that potentially we may see selling. Question, should I hold and observe or take profit, right? Seeing that it is a very short-term trade and good ROI. So, yep, you have made some pretty good ROI. I think your question is that should sell or not, right? Or maybe don't sell first because maybe it can go up some more, right? You sell and after go up and you say, wasted, right? So, should sell or don't sell? Let's go ahead to find that out, right? So, let me just go ahead to hide Benjamin, hide your comment so that it is not take up too much space. Okay, there we go, right? So this is Crowdstrike right over here at 502, right? So I'll just go through very quickly, right? Very quickly, you can see that for Crowdstrike, it seems like it likes to do this, the pattern, right? Pump, bearish, all the way down. We got bullish signal coming out in August last year, another one, and we started to see that reversal all the way up, a bearish signal, 72% in 5 months. When you see a bearish signal, you don't get in, you wait, right? Because you go down some more, you go and buy for what, right? Go down some more, down, right? Wait, take some profit, get out, wait to get back in again. And then we got a new bullish signal. That was in April, all right? And what happens from here all the way up to when we got a bearish signal, 20% in about 3 months, all right? So when you see a bearish signal, probably don't want to get in to buy. But now let's see what has happened last night. Right, it seems like now we got a new 1GT bullish signal being triggered last night. All right, when it kind of like broke the 450. So 450 will be what we call a psychological resistance level, right? And it seems like we've broken the 450 level. Not too bad. All right, yes, kind of like push up quite high all the way to around $502. So the point is this, right? We got a bullish signal coming out, right? I don't know whether it'll be like, previously when you look at the first bullish signal coming out, like over here, right? It was like down, bullish signal, all the way up, right? So I don't know whether you can like take this and, kind of like put it over here and we can see the upside here, right? But just take note, every time we get the first bullish signal, the first bullish signal, right? So now it's the first one. All right, I don't know whether like pump like that, right? Does it make sense about? Right, but the fact is that we got a new 1GT bullish signal coming out. You see what I'm saying, so all right? So it looks more bullish, right? That's the point, okay? And the next thing is that we look at the green 20 days moving average line, right? So every time we got a bullish signal, look at the green line as another confirmation, right? The green 20 days moving average line started to slope up, right? Just to give us an idea of the short-term trend. Look at the green line, right? A bullish signal appeared, up. Bullish signal appeared, up, right? Now, let's take a look at the green line right now. Is it the same? Is it pointing up? Well, quite clearly the green line, if you asked me last week, I would say it's down, right? Down, then flat. Now it's starting to point up. Doesn't make sense. There's another confirmation. So if you ask me, it looks quite bullish, right? I don't know whether it'd be like, over here in April or over here in last year, August, but we are definitely looking at some signs of more strength. So back to your question, right? Should you take some profit near resistance, right? So your question is this, right? Resistance at 510 to 5201. To keep it simple, let's just say 520 lah. Or 520 is a key psychological resistance level. Why? Because previously in July, and then we consolidated below it, saw a couple of a bearish candle, and then we sold off. So 520 would be a psychological resistance level. So is it normal to see some selling near 520? Normal, right? Whether 515, 518, 517, 516, normal to see some selling. So if you want to take some profit near that 520 resistance level, like you see over here, right? We saw selling, right? So you put it over here, maybe we might see some selling near 520, right? So you can take some profit there. So I'm not too sure exactly how many shares you buy, but if it's like a short-term trading position, if you got in like 10 shares, 20 shares or whatever, right? You can take partial profit, take some. I didn't say take all. I think take some. I think that's fine to take some, right? But probably don't want to take all. Why? Because I think that if we break the 520, we may even see a new 1GT bullish signal, all right? And that could trigger even more upside momentum, right? And if you take all, and then before you go to 600, then you say, wasted, you see already go up, right? So take some, nothing wrong, put some money in your pocket, I think that's fine. But from what I'm saying right now, we're looking at more upside, potentially even breaking the 520. We may even trigger a new 1GT bullish signal if that happens. So that is where if you take some, put in your pocket, never mind, but at least you have some balance for it to ride even further, to make even more profits. Does it make sense about? All right. So I hope that answers the question, Benjamin. All right. So yeah, should I hold and observe or take some profit? Nothing wrong with taking some profit. But I think in the short term, I mean, you could set some alerts, right? We have already set our alerts based on the 1GT Pro indicator. Of course, we got alerted to this. If a new bullish signal appears again, we will be alerted again. All right. And I think that would be when if we break the 520 resistance level. All right, so CRWD, Crowdstrike. Let's take a look at, I mean, why did it grab? I didn't really follow the news, but I can see Crowdstrike. I think there's some analysts covering it. Wedbush analysts hailed Crowdstrike as the gold standard in cybersecurity, highlighting its AI products and the rising demand for advanced solutions amid an evolving threat landscape. I think some analysts kind of upgraded it. So broke the resistance. Technically, it just looks good. Check out the analyst report. All right, but from my one good trend pro indicator, poised for even more upside, especially if 520 resistance gives way. All right, so let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next up.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, let's see. Very interesting for CrowdStrike pushing new highs. Let's see who do we have here. All right, okay, so here we go. Gunnery, hi, good morning. Hi, good morning, Gunnery. Having buy these BTDR, sorry, a bit of a tongue twister there. After breaking the resistance with the 1GT intact, what's your view? Okay, let's see. So BTDR is BTDR. I hope I'm correct. I think this is the correct counter. Not too sure. Haven't been following this counter. Not too familiar with this counter. Let me just take a look. Engages in cryptocurrency mining industry, generates income through proprietary mining data centers. Okay, cool. So it's a company backed by cryptocurrency. Yes, I think in the past few weeks, prices have started to show some signs of strength after it had rebound. All right, it rebounded from the $12 level very clearly. It was tested. False breakdown below here. 1, 2, 3, 3 times in the most recent days, it had already tested this $12 level, and most recently, I think the last 4 days, sorry. In fact, it had broken above that $16 level. So you just bought it, I think should be last night or the night before, I'm presuming. So I think you can see right here, all right, just now Z was talking about a bullish candlestick, right? Sorry, a bearish candlestick. So would you think, Gunnery, is this a bullish or a bearish candlestick? Okay, so it's red color, right? Doesn't mean red color, it must be bearish, right? So Gunnery, hopefully you're still here. This is a bullish candlestick that we actually saw appearing last night, very, very close to the support level. So that's where we would like to see bullish candlesticks come in, right? Previously, you have a little bit of bearish candlesticks coming in right here. Then prices start to fall below. I think right now it seems like a little bit of buying interest has been starting to pick up already, and that longer term moving average, although still below each other, I mean the 100 days moving average is below that 200 days moving average, it has started to point up. 20 days moving average, I think as of last night, let's zoom in, have started to cross above that 200 days moving average. So I think in the nearer term sense, I think you can expect a little bit more strength towards the immediate resistance. I would place right around maybe that $22 first, where prices previously had tested this level before heading down. I think it's a little bit hard to say at this point if prices is able to push past that $22 resistance level. So I think this is a key level to actually watch out first, and that second level to actually watch out for will be the $16 level, because you bought at 16.56. You want to be able to get out if that short-term strength doesn't play out. All right, but if we are able to see prices push higher, I think one sign or one good sign would be that the 20 days moving average the 100 days moving average will start to push higher and perhaps even crossing above that 200 days moving average, something like this. All right, you may start to see this happen, and yes, I think that's when you can see that what we call like a bullish crossover. I think that's a good sign. That's a very good sign that the longer term trend is starting to pick up. All right, so I think in this case you may want to set up further alerts. All right, we got one GT bullish signal here, the second 1 GT bullish signal here. Let's see if we are able to see a third 1 GT bullish signal. I think that can give us that confirmation, the additional confirmation that prices are able to ride up or push towards that $22. So the upside, I would say, is pretty significant, but you want to be cautious or be a little bit more careful about the downside as well. So if that $16 level doesn't hold, potentially that is where you want to have a stop limit order in place, just to get out first. And if prices start to stabilize again above the $16 level, then that's when you get back in. So sometimes it's better to be a little bit patient, better to buy a little bit more expensive. But you have already adopted a breakout strategy, I guess, so far, which is okay upon the backs of that 20 days moving average pointing up. So far the plan is still working out. So I think still a little bit early to say, but continue to monitor over the next few days, right? Gunner Ray, you want to see the prices at least consolidate above that $16 level. Okay, so I think that is a very quick one for BTDR Technologies. So pass the time back to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so before I cover the next stock, maybe I'll just do a very quick run through, right, of what are some of the stocks that we have already covered so far. Okay, so I think Joey actually started off with analyzing the market, right, using the SPX and also the NDX, right, the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. And then the very first stock that Joey actually covered is Micron, right, MU, followed by Bervyn actually did ASML, and I actually did Hood, right, Robinhood, followed by MSFT, which is the fourth stock. The fifth stock will be Intel. And then the sixth stock is ELV, Eleventh Health. And the seventh stock is SPGI, followed by Tesla, covered by Bervyn. And I did UnitedHealth, which is UNH, right? And then after that, that would be Crowdstrike, CRWD. And Bervyn has just covered BTDR. All right. And now let's moving on to the 12 stocks, right? The 12 stocks for today. And that would be IONQ, right? And I saw Alpha Babe is actually asking, after much quantum talk, IONQ outlook, please. Thanks. Okay, let's take a look at IONQ. I think it's a pretty interesting stock as well, because it is mainly about, quantum computing and AI. And I think all the talks about AI and quantum computing has really gotten more interest, right, by everybody towards you. If you just take a look at the volume, you see, comparing the volume, right, many years back, right, to very recently, right, this is where we have a very huge surge in volume, and that's where I think a lot of people start looking into AI and quantum computing. And especially so this company, right, is actually focusing on, right over here, quantum computing, right, manufacture quantum computers, right. And also, if you just take a look at this, you can see that, IONQ, right, is actually partnering with US Department of Energy to boost quantum tech in space as well. So I think that is also where all the interest for this particular stock actually comes in, right? So Alpha, I hope you are still here. I'm not too sure if you are holding on to the stock or you are thinking about entering the stock. Maybe you can let me know in the chat. All right. But let's take a look at some of the levels, right? Let's look at some of the levels for this IONQ. All right. So for IONQ, like what I mentioned previously, it was nothing much lah. I mean, not a lot of interest. We can see mainly it has just kind of been moving sideways, and it can move sideways for the entire year, right? As you can see right over here. But something last year, Q3, Q4, that's where we started to see some action coming back to this counter like and some interest as well, right? And right now, what do we see is that as of last night, price closed at 68.81, and we can see very clearly that over the past couple of days, price have also just surged, right? And we have a 1GT bullish signal right over here on the 12th of September, right? But even before this, the very first 1GT bullish signal actually came out on the 24th of April, right? So let me just see, 24th of April to where we are at now. Wow, this is actually 100. Oh my God, this is actually 163% in over, I think, a couple of months, right? Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 months, 6 months, 163%. Fantastic, right? So let's take a look at some of the levels, right? That perhaps maybe you can take note of, especially for those of you who are thinking of maybe putting this in your watch list or even thinking about positioning yourself for entry. All right. So for the past couple of months, we can see from May, right, all the way to September, right, to very recently to September, prices have kind of just been trading sideways within this range, right over here. It's very clear that the support was at about 35. And the resistance, right, is actually about 50, right, which is a psychological level for us to note. And it is also, in fact, this level, right, back in December, right over here, this level was actually tested as well. So 50 was actually one of the very crucial resistance level, right? But very recently on the 12th of September, right, this level was actually broken with a very bullish candlestick, and plus we got a 1GT bullish signal as well. Plus, if we take a look at the moving averages, which is the trend, right, what do we see? The red, the blue line, they are actually also pointing up. Green line definitely has also gone up already lah, and all three are all actually heading up, right? So right now, prices have surged for, surged since, okay, let's see, when it actually first broke to where we are at. This was about close to 50% already, right? When it first broke the $50 level, right? And this $50, I would say, is one of the new higher support, right? That perhaps you guys can take note of as well. Maybe you can set some price alert here, but I don't know whether, prices will actually go back all the way down to $50 for us to actually enter, right? But what we can actually do is that, because we know that prices have been trading within a range for at least 3 months or so, right? And we actually do a very quick projection up, like so, right? Do it up. So I would say the level, right, actually the target would be somewhere around 65, right, over here, about 65, 64.9, 65, this level right over here, right? This would actually be a target, right? If we were to think about, if prices break above 50, where is the next target, right? And because of this, I think this is what we can actually take note of as like a temporary support level as well, to actually take note, right? This around this 65 right over here, because prices just broke and yesterday it actually closed above 65, like 66. I don't know whether, if you ask me today, hey, will the price actually hold above 65? I don't know, right? I don't know, but definitely I think the immediate support level that perhaps you guys want to take note of, right, would be this 65 this 65 right over here. All right. And potential upside targets, again, same thing, based on the range that we are looking at, right? I think it's about $15 range, right? From 35 to about 50 will be about $15 range. And if we were to do this up, project it up, then the next upside target, right, that I think we can potentially be looking at would be towards the $80 psychological resistance, right? But the thing is that because price have already surged up so fast, right, over the past couple of days, I think what I would want to ideally monitor at least is for prices to actually stabilize first, right? Rather than it just quickly chunk all the way up to 80, because if that's the case, you might also be a bit scared because it can crash very quickly as well. If there's some negative news about the company, or there's some insider news about company that actually got exposed or things like that, right? Then the prices could also start coming down very fast. So the thing is that we want to make sure that there is some sort of stabilization, right? And hopefully we are able to see price able to maintain and hold above this 65, which is I would consider the immediate support level, before it actually potentially reach the $80 target level that we actually look at based on the projection. All right. So I hope that helps in terms of the IONQ outlook, some of the things that perhaps you can consider, and also the levels to take note. All right. So with that, I'll pass the time back over to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Okay, let me share my screen now. So you can see, guys, that when we have been analyzing your stock, I think it's almost like 1.5 hours already. When we have been analyzing your stocks, right, we actually use what we call the One Good Trend Pro indicator. So as I say, you want to find a bit more, you can attend one of those free webinars. The link is right in the chat. Again, this team can place the link in the chat, right, in case it's all the way scrolled up already, right? But I want to show you guys one more thing, right? We have been using what we call the 1GT Pro indicator, right? And if you want to go ahead to test drive the light version, right? We do have what we call the One Good Trend Light indicator, all right, whereby you can test drive for free for 14 days, all right? The link is right in the chat as well. Team can place the link in the chat. So that's where, you could, it's a simpler version, it's a simpler version. So this is the pro indicator that me, Bervyn and Zee are using. You can see, right, we have like more advanced stuff, more boxes, more confirmations, right? But you can test drive the One Good Trend Light indicator for free. Simpler version. You don't have all the other advanced boxes and features, but you can turn on the bullish and bearish signals. Basically, the first box right at the top, you can turn it on, turn it off, pam, pam, pam. You can see whether any bullish or bearish signals comes out to guide you whether to buy or sell. So you see, if you see a bearish red color one, then don't go and buy. But you see a bullish one yesterday, then today you want to go and buy, then of course you feel more confident. Does it make sense? So you can test drive the 1GT light indicator for free. The link is right in the chat as well. And that can give you a quick opinion as well. All right, just to guide you a bit more on entry and exit as well. All right, you want to find out about the pro, then attend a free webinar. The link is in the chat as well. Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that would be by JH, right? JH, hi, you bought OKLO, okay, all right, tongue twister lah. Okay, OKLO. I thought it's like OKLO or something, right? But okay, that's the code, OKLO Incorporated, right? This is the first time I'm looking at this company, right? So I have no idea, but I think it's a pretty good company. Thanks for sharing with me this, right? OKLO, you bought at around 76. Now it's what price? Wow, now it's $104. So you confirm make money, 76 now become 104, right? Congratulations, right? May I know the next potential target, right? Is this good counter to hold for a longer term, right? So you're already making money, right? So I think your question is that can it go up higher, or should you maybe sell, right? And I think when people ask, is it good to hold for longer term? Well, I think longer term is fine. You want to know the fundamentals of the company and stuff. But for me, longer term is longer term. But you also want to know when to get out. Because some people say you want to hold for long term, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year. But then, now looks good. But, maybe next week or next month, I see a bearish signal, everything come down. Then I think it's good to take some profit and get out first. Then maybe get back in again when the time comes. Does it make sense? Rather than, I want to keep for 5 years, then the bearish signal come out, then you're still holding down. Then I think no point. You see what I'm saying? All right, so it's good that you want to hold for long term, it's fine, but I think it's good that you want to take some profit along the way, especially if you see any bearish signal, right? So let's take a look at OKLO, all right, OKLO right now, $104. So I think you got it at $76. I think somewhere over here, maybe last 1-2 months you get maybe over here, right? But not too bad. I mean, when you get over here, of course, it went up a bit. In fact, we've got a first 1GT bullish signal coming out. So if you see the first signal, you got alerted to it, then even cheaper, all right? I think that time the price was about only $29, $30. So you went up, then you got in a bit higher, right? But you can see from the very first 1GT bullish signal that have appeared or got triggered, right? All the way to now. 261% in 3 months. 261% in 3 months. Well, not too bad. Not too bad. So of course you got in a bit higher. But I think you guys can see, right, how powerful this is. I mean, this type P for powerful, guys. You can see that it's pretty powerful, right? In terms of the bullish signals to get in. Type P for powerful. Let me know, guys, if you feel that this is pretty powerful. Whereby when you see a bullish signal, it guides you to get in, to ride the upside, to maximize your gains in an uptrend, and maybe to get out when you see a bearish signal. Type P for powerful, you feel that can be really powerful to take the emotions, the thinking, guessing, Type P for powerful, you feel that could be very powerful. Let's see if I just want to engage all of you. Hopefully you're still over here joining me. Type P for powerful, feel that this is powerful, right? Whereby you could have like signals guiding you when to get in. Not just about getting in, right? But I think all of you can agree that getting out is important. So I think you get in, buy, but you also know when to get out, then go all the way down, and you get stuck also, right? So let me know, right? Powerful, Victor, powerful as well. Colleen, powerful. Thank you so much. Powerful as well. Powerful. Very good, right? So check it out, right? This is the 1GT Pro indicator, right? 1GT Pro indicator, right? And attend a free webinar to learn a bit more, or you can get the 1GT Lite free trial as well. All the links are in the chat already. Okay, can? Okay, let me go to pull out the question by OKLO, right? Where is it? All right, let me just go to find it right over here. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so this is OKLO. You can see, right? We got a bullish signal since May. Yes, pushed up by 200%. I think it's very simple for me, lah. All right. So far, from how I look at it, left, right, center, up, down, I think it looks bullish, lah. I think it looks bullish, right? So I think your question, JH, would be to sell some. What's the next potential target? Well, we have broken this resistance at $90. Look at this, right? $90 was a bit of a resistance. Touch, came down, right? But the past few days, we have gone above the $90, even above the 100, right? So we're looking at more upside momentum. We got some bullish candles coming out as well, all right? And of course, there's a few other confirmations that we can look at as well, like the volume and stuff. But the longer term trend is up. The short-term trend was up, a bit of sideways, up, sideways. Now, obviously, the green line has started to point up as well as we attempted to break the $90 and even the $100 resistance level, right? So it's looking more bullish. So what you could do, right? Very simple, JH. What could you do to maximize your profits while allowing it to ride even more? What you could do is this, right? Very simple, right? I think Bervyn and Zee have talked about it. They have turned on what we call the trailing support level. So let me just go to turn it on, right? This is one of the very powerful feature of the One Good Trend Pro indicator. Let me just turn it on right over here. This is a trailing support. Let's turn it on, right? So you can see once I turn it on, and now we got a green line right below. I mean, we got the first bullish signal coming out in May, all right? Right over here. The trailing support actually popped out, all right? This trailing support is a line that is below the price, right? You can see it's below, right? But as the price move up, right, it also follow it to move up. Right, but you don't follow too close. Give it some space to breathe, to move a bit, all right? So you can see go up, we follow up, flat, flat, up, flat, up. Now you can see starting to move up because the price is moving up, so it's following already, right? So you follow, you account for volatility, and you give it the breathing allowance to hopefully move up even higher. All right, and the fact is that if you're above the green trailing support line that has been out since May, you can see when it came out, it was like about $24. Now follow $24. Now follow until it become $80 already. Does it make sense? All right. So as long as you're above this line, all right, there's about $80 right now. You are still good to go. That will be another confirmation from the One Good Trend strategy, right? However, if you're to go below the line, right, go below $80, the trailing support line. So this trailing support gives the stock the space to breathe, right? So you should be above one if you're good, right? But one fine day, I give you the space, I give you the volatility allowance that you need, right, to move up and down, no problem, right? But yet you use up all the space, and you still go below the line, right? The green trailing support line that is following you, right? And then you want to be careful, then something is not so good already, right? There's some heavy selling. We would see what we call a 1GT bearish signal popping out as well, right? So from what I'm seeing right now, there's no bearish signal. It still looks pretty good, all right? So what you could do is to take steps to protect your profits. You take steps to protect your profits, right? As the trailing support move up, you could have a stop loss below it just to protect. So you move up, right? So assuming it goes up even higher, right? Then this trailing support line will continue to follow, let's say like that, follow. Does it make sense? I mean, now we follow for that. Let's say follow, right? That's where you could put your stop loss, right over here, below it, to protect your profits. All right, let me just show you what I mean. Something like that, right? So you protect your profit. So you could put your stop loss, raise it. So if any case, one fine day after 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 1 year, whatever, right? It goes below the trailing support line, or you get a bearish signal, you get out, you still make money. Does it make sense? All right. So that's what you could do, all right, to take steps to protect your profits while giving the stock room to breathe, while maximizing your gains without cutting your profits short. Does it make sense? All right. So that's what you could do, right, based on this trailing support. Okay, so this is OKLO very quickly. So let me pass on the mic. I hope that helps. All right, Jade, I hope you're still over here. So it looks pretty good. Continue riding. I'll probably put this stock in my watch list, right, to monitor as well. All right, Bervyn, back to you.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, so next up we have Ian here. Thoughts on GS and WFC, I think Wells Fargo company. For 1GT on RLSL, the resistance and support levels. Accumulating more for dividends or to take profits. Average cost price at 130 and $20 respectively. So GS 130, Wells Fargo $20. Okay, sure. Let's see. Firstly, massive congratulations because you have been probably holding Goldman Sachs for quite a while now, because your average cost price is 130. Goldman Sachs is trading at $800, so you're sitting on probably 700% profits at least, right? 130 to here, so probably even further, even further, wait it's quite a while back already. So at least 8 years you have been holding on to Goldman Sachs. Congratulations. I think profit protection is way at the back of your mind already lah. At this point, I think you are very rather safe. I think your intention is to whether should you accumulate even more at this level to build on your dividend income lah. Okay, so I think in the nearer term, very good. I think Goldman Sachs starting to show strength as well. Prices breaking above that $750 support in September that I've drawn previously. I think as of last night, let me just throw one more line here. I think it was testing, or it had broken above that $800 psychological level already. That 20 days moving average very close to the $750 level right now, and that 100 days moving average very close to the 680 support level where prices were very close to in July. There are two 1 GT bullish signals still playing out since May of last year. So I think you can do like what Joey have said as well, to actually place a trailing, turn on that trailing support and resistance line. All right, you can see that that trailing support is also right around the $750 level. So I think an alert definitely have to place at that $750 level lah. Right, cannot run away. This alert I think must place it under 750, maybe 745, 743. Maybe if prices come down, you can just get out for a little bit, because you see a 1 GT bearish signal, prices head down lower, and then in fact you can get back in when you see another 1 GT bullish signal come up. But will that happen? I don't know. But at this point, as long as this $800 level continues to hold, I think the upside can further continue, or that bullishness or that momentum in the nearer term can continue towards that $850 level for sure, right? But the whole thing is the $800 level must hold. Don't hold, then I think maybe you'll see it come down a little bit. But you are sitting on a very, very, very substantial profit. So in fact, if you are looking to accumulate even more, I think right now could be a good level for you to actually take note of. But it's a little bit more aggressive because prices have just broke above that key resistance level that may turn into a support as long as prices can consolidate above this level. I think yes, you can accumulate a little more. Like you said, you want to build on a dividend income, or you want to build on that continuous dividend as well. So I think so far for Goldman Sachs, it looks like it's picking up. I think a few of the other investment banks are also starting to pick up. I think Goldman Sachs is also one of the stocks that is on our team's watch list. For yourself, I think maybe additional one more GT bullish signals coming in would be good for you as well. Maybe some profit taking could also come back in at this $800 level. So I will keep it as a red color resistance level. I think it's still testing it, although we closed above it a little bit. Let's see if we can open above it this evening or this tonight as well. But otherwise, if prices head lower back to the $750 level, I think this is a very, very good level to accumulate as well. Why? It's because that's where the 20 days moving average is. That's where the trailing support is as well. And that's where previously prices was testing as a resistance, and now it had turned into a support. So I think three factors right there to actually give you that confirmation or that conviction to actually accumulate at that level. So I think Goldman Sachs still looking good. Few key levels to watch out for. Still quite bullish at this point. So I think continue to monitor. All right, so I'll pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock for us.
Okay, thank you, Bervyn. Okay, so the next stock that I have on my screen over here would be ACVA. Actually, don't really know what this stock is, but let's take a look at it, right? By Ritu. Ritu, I hope you're still here. You said that you bought ACVA at average price of 13.5 and now it's 10.3. Should I cut loss or wait for price to come up? Okay, maybe to make it a bit more interesting for you guys, for those of you, 161 of you who are still here, right? Maybe you guys can help me out with Ritu's question as well. Based on what you guys are seeing right now, right? I've turned on the 1GT bullish and bearish signal so that we don't play cheat, right? We don't see what signals are there now. But based on the chart right now, what do you guys think for V2, right? Should he cut loss or he should wait for the price to reverse up? Just FYI, I zoom in a bit. The price as of last night closed at 10.34. His average cost price is 13.5. What do you guys think? Maybe you guys can let me know in the chat. Do you guys think that, V2 should actually cut loss or wait for price to reverse and go back up? I turn off the 1GT bullish signal already. We cannot play cheat. Don't look at the signals first, okay? So maybe you guys can let me know. ABC says sell. ICE says cut. Okay, what about the rest of you who are here? We have about 160 people who are still here with us. Colin says stop loss. Okay. Anybody else? What do you guys think? Cut or wait for the price to reverse back up? Jimmy says cut loss. Mel says cut. Okay. Jessica also says cut. Victor also says cut. Okay. Everybody here, based on what I'm seeing right now, a lot of you guys are actually advising to actually cut losses, right? To actually cut losses for this particular stock, ACVA, that V2 is actually holding. Okay, let me pull out where is V2's chat. Let me just pull back the comment again. Give me 1 second. Right over here. Okay, so a lot of you guys here advise V2 to actually cut loss. Don't actually wait for the price to go back up, right? Okay, let's take a look. Let me turn on the 1GT signals right now and we see. Okay, let's turn it on. What do we have here? Okay, we have not one but three 1GT bearish signals, right? 3 1GT bearish signals. And also maybe let's understand why a lot of people of you guys are actually saying cut as well. And I also think should cut lah. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have 3 1GT bullish signal, and we look at the moving average, right? Blue, red, and green, all three are also still pointing down, right? Are also still pointing down. And we got 3 1GT bearish signal, not just one, but three. And when we see a bearish signal, of course, like what we always mention, it doesn't mean that the stock will crash. It just means that there's more selling pressure coming back. But if you have three all at the same time, plus you know that the moving averages, the trend is telling you that the stock is actually going down, then it is not so good, right? It's not so good. And right over here, I have actually drawn a psychological support level at about $10, right? And if I were to zoom back, you can see that, $10, this was actually the range that it was actually tested, right, back in 2022. But actually, you don't have to zoom back so far. You don't have to look so far back, right? But $10 would be a psychological immediate support level, right, that I think we do, perhaps you might want to take note of, right? Because the thing is that I don't know when you bought your ACVA, right? You say your average cost price is $13.50, right? I don't know if you have actually bought it, somewhere around here, like 1 month back, or you actually bought it somewhere around here. Because if you have bought it somewhere around here in 2024, wow, the price gone all the way up to $20 over, and then you never take profit. I also feel a bit wasted for you, right? And actually with that, if you have bought it somewhere around here, and probably somewhere around here, right, probably you will have already gotten out if, let's say, we use a trading support, right, to actually monitor. Oh, sorry, not here. In fact, somewhere around here, you have already gotten out already, right? Or maybe even here as well. But at least you actually lock in some profits, right? Rather than now you're actually sitting on losses now, because $13.50 and now it's about $10. And let's see, you're down about 26%, right? 26%. So back to the support level, right? So like I mentioned, I've drawn an immediate support level here about $10, right? About $10. So I think what you want to monitor, right, is to see if this $10 can actually hold up. Because if it does break this $10, I think definitely we will see more weakness returning back to this counter, and towards where I think the next level that you want to take note will be the $6 level already. And also, plus the fact that if prices are break below the $10, do you think that the moving averages, right, will still continue going down? I would think so, right? All three, in fact, the blue, the red, and the green will still continue to actually point down. And plus, right now, we don't have any signals that, the 20 days moving average, right, is actually even heading sideways yet or consolidating sideways. So I think for this particular stock, perhaps you might want to consider to actually reduce some exposure, because the worst thing that you want to do is not take any action and you just keep holding on to it. Don't look at it and then just ignore it, right? And that's where, a lot of times people might get stuck, right? And you might be sitting on huge unrealized losses by the time you know it. All right. So V2, I hope that helps. And some of the people over here who are live also help you out, saying that, perhaps you can consider to actually reduce some exposure or cut losses for this particular counter. All right. So I hope that gives you some perspective on this stock and something for you to actually think about. All right. So with that, I'll pass the time back over to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, so I think very good that all of you are participating. We have Victor saying card, Emily card. So all of you are kind of helping us to give an opinion as well. Or even before we turn on the bullish and bearish signals from the 1GD Pro indicator. All right, so I think all of you are study experts are all card. But I think one thing I want to share, guys, is this. Right, when people ask you about other people's stock, you say card. But I think all of you agree. Sometimes card is you say for other people easy lah, right? But we own self do, right? Then you will hear, every day we will hear things like 不要紧啦，放租啦, see how lah, tomorrow then we see maybe tomorrow will rebound, right? We wait 1 week, wait 2 weeks, wait 1 month. How many of you agree, right? So I all say cut, all very pro already, but when your own stock come, never cut one, you will hold all the way down. So make sure you all apply this to your own stock also lah. Make sure you apply this to your own stock. So remember, when the stock is in a downtrend going down, first of all, we don't want to buy. I don't want to buy because it's signs of weakness, right? Downtrend, plus got bearish signal, you go and buy for what, right? So we don't want to get in on stocks like this. All right, Ken? Joey, why you always wear white t-shirt? I don't know, right? I just, pretty much just want to keep it simple, right? Okay. Never mind. Let's move on to the next stock. Right? Okay. Now let's move on to the next one, and let's see. We have Winkit. All right. Let me just quickly share my screen right over here. And Winkit, right? Looking to invest midterm on GOOGL, Alphabet, right? Can we expect a pullback after the FOMO push up? If yes, at what level is good entry? Thank you so much. I think some of you are asking about Alphabet, right? So some looking to get in. Kunaf, you say you already bought one, so lucky. You bought at 175, now it's 252, confirm make money. Also want to buy, some thinking about buying. All right, but let me go ahead to analyze. But maybe before we analyze, just practice this again. Before we even turn on the bullish and bearish signals, type in the chat, guys, type in the chat. What do you guys think we should do, right? For this stock, more to buy, more to sell, right? Type in the chat, buy or sell, or wait, right? Let me know. Let's just try to practice a bit of engagement now. Let's see, let's do something different, something like this. So just now you all say sell, now son, buy or sell. Type in the chat. This stock right up here, GOOGL, Alphabet. More buy or sell. All right, let's see. Victor, you are right. I talk easy, need to remind myself every time when wrong steps. Right, very good one, right? So all of you who say sell us now, help me out right over here, right? Are we thinking about buying this stock, or should we think about selling this stock right over here? Alphabet, based on what you're seeing right now on the chart, based on what you're seeing, right? Michelle, very good. Buy. Well, now all say buy already. Not I say one, you all say one. Buy, continue buy. Victor, wait for consolidation, then buy. Tan, buy more since all MA bullish. Jen say wait for pullback, right? Very good as well. Let's see as well. Jinglong, wait for pullback as well. Okay, Mao, buy. Very good, right? So my take is this. I think all of you are getting it, right? In a stock that is strong, like what we're seeing right now, even before I turn on the bullish and bearish signals from the One Good Trend Pro indicator, right? You can see that this stock is in an uptrend. Does it make sense? All right. The moving averages are all pointing up, right? In terms of it, the short-term trend, look at the green line. The green line was down from January to April, but since May started to turn up. Is it still turning up? Yeah, still turning up. So the short-term trend is still up. It's been up since last month. We've been talking about this stock a couple of months already, since May already up already, right? The longer-term trend, if you look at the red and the blue line, well, officially, it has started to turn up, right? The beginning of the longer term uptrend has taken shape because the red has gone above the blue. Both has started to point. So these are stocks whereby, we want to think about getting it. I know, right? The only not good thing is what? A bit more expensive, all right? A bit wasted, you got to buy more expensive. Of course, if you buy at 160, the best, right now it's 250, sure make more, right? So the only not so good thing is that it's more expensive, right? But we understand that, most of our clients, and then this is the mindset that all of us have as well, right? Because it's expensive, then you might think that you don't want to buy, right? You want to buy the cheap one, you want to buy just now that one, the sell one, right? And then you go and buy that one, right? But we must change our mindset that we want to think about buying stocks which are strong, which has the potential to move even higher. Because if you ask me last month, when it was 180, people are saying expensive, 200 also expensive, 220 also expensive, 252 expensive, not expensive, right? Next month become 300, expensive, not expensive, right? So you have been saying expensive all the way, right? So, there's a reason why it's moving higher. There's a reason why it's more expensive, right? So we want to focus on stocks like this first of all. All right. Okay. So very good. Those of you who say buy, very good. But let's dive into, should we just anyhow buy? Or think about getting in at some more attractive prices, maybe at some certain support zones that could be a better reward to risk trade. Does it make sense? All right, so let's turn on the 1GT Pro indicator very quickly. Pump. And there we go, right? So you can see, guys, for this stock, right, we're not go too far, but I mean, since like, February, we got bearish signal, another one in March, bearish signal. Then, of course, don't buy lah. You ask me over here, I will say sell lah, right? Because got bearish signal, right? Down, down, down. When do you want to think about buying? In fact, it came out in April, right over here. Green line turned up, a bullish signal came out, another bullish signal came out, 1GT on August, it went up even faster. All right, so when you see another bullish signal, then even more upside momentum, even faster, even better. All right, and there we go. All right, so now let's see what has happened. So I would say that right now, back to your question on Alphabet, right? We are looking at let's see, right? Wicked. Can we expect a pullback after the FOMO push up, right? Federal Reserve. If yes, at what level is good for entry? So what could be good level for entry, right? So for me, it's very simple. If you're already holding on to this stock, right, well, you can take some profit near the 250 resistance, 260. As I said, nothing wrong to take some profit, but what we could do is to take steps to protect our profits by turning on the trailing support. So this trailing support since May has popped up from 147 follow until now become 231. All right, so it has been moving up, prices going up, trailing support continue to follow it up, giving it the space to breathe. So it looks still bullish, right? In fact, the green line pointing up, there's still some space within the 252 and the 231. So as long as you stay above the trailing support, right, it still looks good to go. So those of you who have been holding, like I think we have a Kunaf, right? Bought at 175, good, right? Sure, make money, right? Of course, you don't want it to like go all the way back down, then from make become lose, right? Don't want to do that. You want to take steps to protect your profits. All right, that is what you could do, right? For those of you who haven't got it and you type buy just now, right? Then the question is that what price should you buy? Well, we could try to time our entry near what we call the support level. So I would say that right now, we have seen a bit of resistance at 240. We have broken that 240, 245, 250. Those could be what we call support zones. It's only like 3 or 4 days, but this could be what we call support zones from 240 to 250, whereby some bargain hunting can come back again. So you can build a plan right over here to enter near the horizontal support to maybe take some profit. If you push higher to 300, right? A plan that works. And maybe to get out, if you fall below a certain level, like if you fall below the trailing support, below 230, that could be a plan to get out to stop loss. All right, to make sure that you don't lose more than what you're supposed to lose. So you need to have a plan, right? If you're looking to get in to buy, all right? Of course, if the price moves in your favor, you can adjust your plan accordingly. So you to take steps to protect your profits as it moves even higher. All right, so that would be for Alphabet, right? So I hope that helps wink it, all right? I think hopefully on dips you can try to get in, but I think so far so good. All confirmations are all positive right now, based on the One Good Trend Pro indicator. All right, okay, so let's go. Let me just go to pass on the mic to Bervyn and Zee. All right, so after Zee, then we'll go on to the bonus stocks for today already, right? So let me pass on the mic to Bervyn, right, for the next the two more last stocks. Bervyn, all yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. So okay, last 2 stocks. Let me just see what do we want to cover. Okay, maybe you take Tony. Hopefully, still here. All right. Okay, so please guide on Netflix. I bought at 1340. Should I sell, hold, or buy more? Thanks a lot. All right, Tony, if you're still here, I think we finally have Netflix on the screen, the stock that you have requested. I think for Netflix, yes, I'm not too sure about your cost price. I think it looks like prices have been in a little bit of a consolidation phase. All right, you have that 100 days, 200 days, of course, still pointing up, but I think here's where the catch is, right? It's a little bit of a mixed signal. 100 days is pointing up, 200 days pointing up, but the 20 days is actually pointing down. Why is that so? It is because prices have recently sold down from that 1260 level, that temporary resistance level, met with a little bit of sellers. Some profit taking actually came back in. Completely normal, I would say, in fact, for prices to actually pull back a little at those resistance level, because people want to take profits, right? And prices previously came close to that 1350 key resistance or that psychological resistance level. Didn't manage to break above it, and it had also came back down. Right now, I think many buyers are looking at the key level as around that 1150 to maybe that 1175 level. So like what Joey have done just now, this is what we call like a support zone where buyers tend to come back in, bargain hunting comes back, people are looking to accumulate on these levels and these dips as well. So if you're currently holding, I think you are a little bit of a no man's land, what I would like to call it, where you are a little bit stuck because you're not close to a resistance, so you're not looking to sell, you're not close to a support, so you're not looking to buy. So by matter of elimination, what are you left with? You're left with hold, right? You say, should I sell, hold, or buy more? I think at this point, it's more of a hold, wait and see situation. And if prices get back towards that 1150 level, you can be a little bit more cautious as well. Or if that 20 days moving average starts to flatten out and then prices rebound from that 1150 level, that is where potentially, if you want to accumulate more shares for Netflix, yes, I think that would be a very, very sound plan as well. But if prices don't hit back down to 1150, because nobody can tell you whether the price will hit down to that level for you to get in more, right? If prices hit back up towards the 1250, 1260 resistance zone, I think it's completely okay to actually sell as well, because this was where prices had actually sold down from in June, sold down close from in August, and also sold down once in September as well. So if it hits right back there, you want to take some profits. I'm not too sure about your cost price. You can do so as well. Reduce a little bit of that exposure. Any prices break above that 1260 level, you still have existing exposure to ride that uptrend or ride that next leg of this uptrend back towards that 1350 level. So just set up a few alerts. I think you guys keep it very simple. Price alert above the 1260 level, a price alert close to the 1150 level. I think that should do you some help as well, Tony. Hopefully that clears things up a little bit for you. For Netflix, I will pass the time now to Z to cover the last requested stock for today. Z?
All right. Thank you, Bervyn. Okay, so the last stock that I have before I will pass back to Joey to share the bonus stock, right, would be from Anthony, right? So I hope Anthony is actually still here. You mentioned that you actually bought a firm AFRM 2 days back at 88.72. Is it good to hold till around 100? Okay, let's take a look, right? So for a firm, I've already turned on the 1GT bullish and bearish signal for you guys to see, right? And what we have over here is that a firm actually has 1, 2, 3. Right, and the very first 1GT bullish signal actually came out on 8th of May, right? And price as of last night closed at 89.91. So you mentioned that you're going at 88.72. Perhaps you're sitting on about $1 profits. Not too sure how many shares you actually bought. But okay, at least you're still sitting on some profits right now, right? And we have 3 consecutive 1GT bullish signal. Let's see. Where okay, to here it's about 70 over percent. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. It's pretty decent from May all the way to September, right? And as of now, based on the trend itself, moving averages, all 3 moving averages, same thing, like I always say, always focus on the trend, is pointing up, right? It is positive. Green above red, above blue, and all 3 are actually pointing up. So that's great. That's great. First signs of looking at the trend, it is not too bad. Second sign is that we got 3 consecutive 1GT bullish signal, right? And the third thing is that right over here, you can see that price is actually holding above this $80 psychological support, right? This $80 psychological support, because previously this level was actually a resistance, right? Back in 2025, early February, right over here, early 2025, this is where we actually see some sort of resistance coming back, selling pressure coming in to push price back down, and then subsequently you got 2 1GT bearish signal, right? This was actually a resistance. And somewhere in August, early August, this level was once again being tested, right? For at least, I would say, 1 month or so, right? Prices keep testing this $80 resistance, unable to break above. But eventually, I think, yeah, it did broke above it. I believe it was probably due to, the earnings, right? I think the earnings actually came out on 28th of August, and the next day, maybe investor actually absorbed the news, learn about the news, and then that's where, we actually saw a gap up. We saw a gap up. And based on this gap up, right, what we can tell is that, $100, like what Anthony has mentioned right over here, hold to around $100. Exactly, I would say $100 is a psychological resistance level to actually take note, where some profit taking can happen, where some selling pressure can return. And especially so based on this candlestick, right, it actually affirms that as well, right? Because you can see the long upper shadow right over here, right? And it is actually testing at $100 level right over here, right? So I think as long as, you know, prices is actually able to hold above the $80 psychological support right over here, right? Yeah, I think potential upside that we can actually look towards would be $100 if it can actually hold above the $80 like the psychological support. And if prices can actually, you know, if it consolidate like this before it even break above, even better, right? And then potential upside target based on the range that we are looking at would be, the next target would be towards the 120, like so, right? And yeah, I think this stock definitely still looking pretty bullish. 3 consecutive 1GD bullish signals still playing out. Long-term trend, short-term trend still looking good and still holding above the $80 as well. So definitely maybe I would think I will keep this stock in my watch list as well, and also to continue monitoring it. Thanks for sharing, Anthony. So yeah, with that, I'll pass the time back to Joey, and perhaps you can start sharing our bonus stock for today.
All right, thank you so much. So that would be for a firm holding. So very quickly, guys, I just want to name all the stocks that we covered today, right? So the very first one, we covered the S&P 500 index. I covered the Nasdaq as well. All right, and we went to Micron. All right, Micron, the very first stock that I did. ASML Holding, Robinhood, MSFT, Microsoft, right? We have Intel, INTC. We have Eleventh Health, ELV, S&P Global, Tesla, UnitedHealth Group, Crowdstrike. And we have one BTDR technology as well, right? BTDR technology. We have this thing called IONQ and OKLO. Goldman Sachs was covered as well, all right? And we have the ACV Auction, ACVA is the code. Then I covered Alphabet, GOOGL. Bervyn covered Netflix, and Zee just covered Affirm Holdings, right? Affirm Holdings. All right, so now let's go ahead to look at what we call the bonus stock. But before we do that, guys, just want to find out how many of you actually got value, type of V for value, guys. If you got value so far, all right, based on today's session, especially if you have covered your stocks, type V for value, let me know so that we want to make sure all of you at least learn something today, not just about the stock, but maybe a bit on the strategy, a little bit on the mindset, a bit on the thought process as well as you look at any stock. Type V for value, let me know, right? I want to acknowledge all of you, and my apologies again, right? I see, guys, today we have at least more than 40, 50 over stocks that were asked. Sorry that we cannot cover all the stocks. It will take like 5 or 6 to 10 hours, all right? So hopefully you can join us again in the next AMAS live. Today is US, so next Friday will be Singapore, all right? Let's see, big value, ABC, awesome. Thank you so much, Vincent. Value, Victor, value as well, eyes as well, all right? Energize, Mood, a lot of very good companies. Yeah, pretty good, right? Some of the counters were asked were quite, they were in our watch list. I think you could see more upside. Put them in yours as well, all right? Katrine, value, Jimmy, value. Thank you so much as well. All right, Tessa, value, and okay, very good. So I'm glad all of you got value. Now, very simple. Let's go ahead to take a look at the bonus stock for today, right? The bonus stock for today, all right? And very simple, right? The bonus stock for today that I'm going to talk about will be this company called Sterling Infrastructure, all right? The code is STRL, right over here at about $348. You can see, right, this stock we've been covering is in one of our, US stock picking service called the Monthly Age, and that's where we actually share some of the top US stocks on a monthly basis. So these stocks have been in it for a while, all right? We got bullish signals later. I'll turn it on and you can see, but we kind of like broke the 150 and 200 resistance, and we have started to push even higher, right? Push even higher, all right? And I think this stock still looks poised to have even more upside. So you can see longer term trend is up. Look at it, the red and blue line is up. Longer term trend has turned up since July. The short term trend since April and May, the green line has been turning up. But let's see if you could get more confirmations in terms of the reversal and now even more upside going forward, maybe in October or November or December, right? You can turn on the 1GD Pro indicator very quickly. Pump. There we go, right? So you can see, right, since like April, right, we actually got the first 1GT bullish signal, right? So our subscribers were alerted to this company as well. We got a bullish signal, short-term trend turn up, right? Another bullish signal came in, all right? And it's gone up even more, all right? But the key here is that over the past 2 months, well, we did see a bit of a resistance at this $325. A bit boring, to be honest, because it was like, from April all the way to August, quite good, right? All the way up, right? From 125 to 300. But then somewhere around August, right? You see, we hit it to this resistance at 325. And what happened? Came down. In fact, got a bearish candle, came down, right? Sideways a bit. The green line also started to move sideways, right? So this means a short-term sideways consolidation, or the trend turns sideways, right? So that's where, you can, it's like taking a rest and taking a breather before hopefully attempting to break that resistance to push higher. Did it happen? Well, yes, indeed. Over the past 1 over week, in fact, just last night as well, we got not one, but we got two 1 GT bullish signal. All right, if you look at the green line right now, the green line that was going flat last week has started to point up as another confirmation. Does it make sense about? Right. So that's why I think that there could potentially be more upside. Yes, started to wake up after 1 month of resting already, right? And we could see more upside momentum if we can stay above this new support level. Let me just put this from red to green in color. All right, that could lead. This support could lead the reversal, so maybe all the way up to, let's say, 400 first to 450. That could be the next upside targets, right? So that would be for sterling infrastructure. One of the stocks that is now US stock picking service. They've been recovering for many months, got bullish signals. New bullish signals have flashed over the past few days. So I think there could still be more room for growth, all right, and upside. Okay, Ken? So this is sterling infrastructure, right? So before I pass on the mic to Bervyn, right, as I say, to share his bonus stock, I want to share with you guys, as I say, we have been using what we call the One Good Trend Pro indicator, whereby there are more advanced features. You could turn on the trailing support. You can see this trailing support has been like following sterling as it moves up, all right, a bit more advanced stuff. But if you want to test drive the 1 GT light indicator, right, team can place the link in the chat, right? I think it's gone up all the way up. Well, click on the link in the chat, guys. Come to this page, and that's where you can see, right? Most incredible free gift ever in the stock market. Test drive my 1 Good Trend Light indicator for free, right? To achieve 12 to 15% profits consistently, knowing when to buy and sell, all right? And you can get an opinion on any stocks in seconds. Plus, you get over $3,000 worth of training, all right? Money-making information for free, just for saying maybe, just for testing it out, right? The link is right in the chat. Click on it. You come to this page. There's a video, a little bit more, and that is pretty much the 1 GT Light indicator throughout. Test it out for 14 days, completely free. All right. And that's where you can guide you to get in, maybe to get out as well, especially if you see a bearish signal. So right now for STRL, sterling infrastructure, no bearish signal since April. I don't know when it'll come out, but so far it seems like it's not going to come out anytime soon. I'm looking at more bullish signals potentially happening again. Okay, Ken? Let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover his bonus stock for today. Bervyn, all yours.
Thanks, Joey. All right. Okay, that is sterling infrastructure. Next up, my bonus stock for today will be, I think if you guys have been following us for quite a while, reading our newsletter, will be this stock, GE Aerospace, General Electric Aerospace. The stock code is GE, and definitely, I think very, very similar to sterling infrastructure. Both are industrials as well. We see that the longer term trend is still very, very much intact. All right, prices are in a little bit of what I like to call like a textbook uptrend, right? Prices consolidate for a little bit, hit higher, consolidate again, start to hit higher again. And after a month or so of consolidation, prices have recently just broke above that 280 target level. So the next target level that I've actually drawn here was actually the 300 level, and prices have actually come very, very close to it last night. Not quite testing it just yet, but I think we can expect a little bit of consolidation, right? This is what I expect, but it may or may not happen. So if prices were to be able to continue to consolidate between that 280 to now that 300 resistance level, as I think that longer term healthy uptrend can continue. So that 20 days moving average is still very close to that 280 level, 280 level. So that is where I will draw that support zone or that buy zone, maybe to 285. That is potentially where you can position yourself for entry for GE Aerospace. Just let me turn on that 1 GT buy or sell signal here. Unlike sterling infrastructure having 3 1 GT bullish signal, for GE we only have 1 bullish signal. That doesn't mean it's worse off. It could, that's what I'm saying here, is it could be just another start of another 1 GT bullish signal, where if prices break above that 300 level, this additional 1 GT bullish signal could appear after a meaningful consolidation. So I think we are still looking quite strong as prices approach that 300 level. I would like to place an alert right now for that 1 GT buy or sell signal if prices break above that 300 level. So, but I think always got to think about the downside, right? If prices break below that 280 level, where would the next support be? I think the next support level would be towards that 260 level, very, very close to that 100 days moving average. So I think that's not too bad of a second zone to actually watch out for as well. But that trailing support right now, let's just see. Give me a while, it's loading. It's taking longer than usual to load. No worries. Okay, there we go. That trailing support right now is around that 247 level. So that is where I think stop limit orders can be placed as well. Just a few bits below it, 2 to 3% below that trailing support is where you can place your stop losses to get out if you have been riding this uptrend for GE for a while now. All right, so if you are looking about for the next target, from that 280, we can just do a little bit of a projection because prices are already at its all-time high already. And then right here, I think very simply, that is a target level towards that 320 resistance or that higher resistance level. So I think GE Aerospace has been on our watch list for a while now since the start of this year. I think we will continue to watch this counter as well. So I think this is one of the counters that you can put in to your watch list if you want to add something other than tech stocks in the nearer term as well. All right, so now I'll pass the time to Z to actually cover the last bonus stock for today.
Okay, thank you, Bervyn. Okay, so for my bonus stock for today will be a bit more different, right, from Joey's and Bervyn's one, right, all in a different sector. So my one that I would like to share with you guys today would be in the financial sector, right, and that is none other than JP Morgan. Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't really see this stock being highlighted in the chat earlier on, but I saw the competitor, right, I think Citigroup, right, was one of them. But the reason why I actually picked JP Morgan, right, is also because, it is in the US, right? It has the largest market capitalization among all the US banks. And as you guys know, US, there could be a lot of different banks, right? There are big banks, there are also mid-sized cap banks, and also small banks, right? So JP Morgan definitely has dominant market presence, I would say, compared to the other competitors. And if you guys know, if you put it a bit in like Singapore context, Singapore only got 3 banks, right? DBS, OCBC, and UOB. And as you guys know, if you have been following, you know that DBS projection and the trajectory looks very different from the other 2 banks, right? So that could be said for the same case for JP Morgan and the rest of the other banks in US as well. Okay, so let's take a look at JP Morgan and see some of the levels, right, for JP Morgan that perhaps you guys can actually take note of and to see if you guys are keen to actually add this into your watch list. All right, so for JP Morgan, as you guys can see over here, uptrend definitely look intact. This one I don't really have to talk about it. As you can see, all the moving averages has been pointing out, even since last year, 2024, right? I mean, of course, there was a dip somewhere in April, like many of the stocks that we have seen, but uptrend definitely still looks intact. And as of yesterday, price actually closed at 313.23, right? Moving averages all are still pointing up. No issues with the trend, right? No issues with the trend. So let me just turn on the signals, right, to take a look. Okay, I think, yeah, all right. Okay, so right now, what do we see? We see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 consecutive 1GT bullish signal that is still playing out. There is still no bearish signal yet, right? It is not showing things like that, bearish signal is still, we have 4 consecutive bullish signals still playing out. And remember that, the trend is actually still intact, the uptrend still intact, all right? And right now, based on the immediate support level, right, that I would say I think it will be somewhere around this level, which is 300, right? Because 300, number one, like we know, we always say a psychological support level that we want to take note of. 300, this would be an immediate support. And even that being said, right, over the past couple of months, from July all the way to September, we saw that this level, right, was actually being tested, right? The $300 psychological resistance was being tested until it actually broke above it, and we also got a 1GT bullish signal coming out. And prices currently, it is still holding above the 300, right? Still holding above the 300. And in terms of upside target wise, based on the range that we have been doing, we do a projection up, it will be about 320, right? 320. And as of now, price is about 313, right? I think it's pretty close to the 320. So the thing is that for stocks that we actually, show you guys as our bonus stock, right? It doesn't mean that, immediately you got to enter into a stock or things like that. But it is mainly just for you to actually put into your watch list, get it into your radar first, right? Because the thing is that we don't advise or we don't recommend any of our clients to actually chase a stock, right? Especially so when you know that, it's a bit not here, not there, very close to the resistance. We don't want to actually get in near the resistance as well, because that is when, sometimes people might say like, hey, I buy already, then straight away drop, right? Yeah. So the thing is that we want to be a bit more patient, and what we can actually look out for would be for support zones, right? Support zones where you can potentially position yourself for entry. And right over here, like I've mentioned, 300 will be the immediate psychological support level, right? And this would be where you can actually potentially set some price alerts to actually alert you, right? Especially so if prices is actually able to retrace before it actually go back up to the 320 projection target that we are looking at, right? And of course, if prices can actually consolidate like this before actually breaking up 320, same thing like what we always do a projection up, and the next upside target that we will be looking at would be at 340. But of course, you don't have to talk about 340 first. First thing first, it has to be able to break and hold above the 320 first, all right? But if we are actually seeing some sort of consolidation happening, right, before you break above, that would be great to make the uptrend even more sustainable. And perhaps by then, maybe we might not have 4, but maybe we might have 5 or even 6 1GT bullish signal coming up. All right. So with that, I think that comes to an end, whereby this is my very quick analysis for JP Morgan and as to why, it's still in my watch list. And if you guys like it, you can put in your watch list as well. All right. So with that, I'll pass the time back over to Joey.
All right, thank you so much. And there we have it, guys. That's it. We have come almost to the end of today AMAS US session. All right, so what are 3 bonus stock? Well, I covered Sterling Infrastructure. The code is STRL. And Bervyn covered GE Aerospace, and Z just covered on JP Morgan. JPM is the code. So I hope you like these stocks, guys. Put it in your watch list. All right, and check it out. I think I'll answer some questions as well. We have like Styler. Hey, good to see you here, Styler. I think some of you are asking like, hey, will you consider covering both Singapore and US markets every Friday? Maybe 10 counters each. It's because 2 weeks is too long to catch up with the stock and market development. All right, so very, very good, Styler. I think those of you who have been following us, right? Every Friday we go live. Today is US. Next Friday we're back to Singapore. So I think Styler is asking whether it could be just one day do both lah. But if you do both, then a bit we have to consider to see whether is it a bit messy as well, because like it makes half, then of course lesser stocks to cover each time as well. All right, let's go to good consider. But very, very good feedback. Thank you so much, Tyler, as well on that. All right, we'll see if that works. But for now, it'll be every week we alternate between US and Singapore. So today US, next Friday we'll be back to Singapore. And talking about Singapore stocks, what essentially, guys, I know today we're talking about US, right? But what happens is that if you're looking at the Singapore market, well, on a daily basis, we do actually send out, right, some of those top ideas to our clients in Phillip Securities for free, right? Some of the top Singapore ideas. In fact, this morning I got my team to send out on like Zhejiang Financial Holding and things like that, right? So if you are kind of like, okay, maybe let us know in the chat, guys, how many of you are actually a client of mine in Phillip Securities? You are getting like our daily ideas by WhatsApp, daily, this type of C for client, guys. If you're actually a client of mine in Phillip Securities, let me just acknowledge all of you. If you're a client of mine, you have a trading account under me in Phillip Securities. I think we do have quite a bit of clients joining us every Friday as well. Let me know, like, how many of you are client person here? Let's see, right? Client, Emily, client as well. Client, David. Hi, Dave as well. Client, Mao. So quite a bit of clients joining us every Friday. Colleen, client. So I believe all of you who are typing C in the chat, like Colleen, Ice, LHS, Harry as well, Video Jungle. All right, you have a trading account under me. Well, I believe you are getting our daily ideas by WhatsApp daily lah. All right, so check it out. I think this morning we shared on Zhejiang Financial Holding, and of course every day there'll be 1 or 2 top Singapore stocks lah. All right, so check it out. In case you're not yet a client like Cynthia, like Catherine, you're not getting any ideas daily by WhatsApp. I mean, from your own broker. I mean, I don't know where you're trading, but you probably need a trading account to buy and sell stocks, right? Right. But if you don't get any ideas from your own broker, nobody send you any ideas or video or WhatsApp or trading, nobody call you, nobody do anything. It's just like you own self log in, own self buy, own self see, own self platform, online web or what, right? Then please check out the link in the chat, right, to join many of our clients like Catherine, Ice, LHS. Well, thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate all of you. Type CCC for client Colleen as well, right? So check it out if you're not yet a client of mine. The link is right in the chat. Find out how you can become a VIP client of mine in Phillip Securities, like many of our clients over here as well, to get some of my top ideas, Singapore ideas, and right, a market update as well daily for free. I say again, right? For free, yes, at no additional cost. The same as whatever you pay when you're trading anyway, right? But at least you get some service, lah. Does it make sense, right? So if you have no ideas from your broker, nobody send you anything or what, right? Check it out. Link is right in the chat. We look forward to welcome you on board. To work with you together with me and my team, all right? And that's where you can get some of those ideas much faster as well. All right, Ken. So yes, I think that's it. We have almost come to the end. Yeah, we can place the link in the chat as well. If you want to find a bit more about the entire strategy, attend a free webinar. Link in the chat. All right, attend a free webinar. Today we do have time to cover the whole strategy to break it all down for you step by step. But attend a free webinar next Tuesday on the 30th of September. All right, link in the chat. That's where we'll share with you guys a bit more on the One Good Trend Pro indicator. How do we filter out the top 1% of stocks as well? How do we know when to buy, when to sell them? All broken down in what we call a 7-point checklist. All right. So Joey here, thank you so much for joining here. We have Bervyn and Zee. Maybe Bervyn and Zee, anything to say for today?
I think I also saw a comment by Prafu saying that it's a good idea to add SG and US stock every Friday. I think that's something that perhaps we can consider, but just take note because for Joey, Bervyn and myself, each of us, we go through one stock, maybe it take about 10 minutes. So maybe Ken might not even be able to cover 10 to 12 stock for each of the market, because if not, that probably would take 4 hours, 5 hours, including Joey's market analysis. So the thing is that I think we will think about it and see maybe how else we can further discuss to add value to you guys, right? And see how that goes. Yeah, but definitely thank you so much for the feedback, and we will actually look into it. Yeah.
Thank you so much as well, indeed, right, Prafu? Yeah, I think it makes sense, but just that it might get a bit messy, and then of course we have fewer stocks. Like today, right? US, how many did we cover? I think we only cover. We spent almost 2 over hours. I think we covered about 18 stocks. So if you do Singapore and US, then it'll be maybe eight stocks each, so lesser each, right? So we think about it, but thanks for the feedback, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you joining us every single Friday. Next Friday, all right, before we make any changes, next Friday we'll be back to the Singapore market. So join us live next Friday, back to AMAS Singapore edition. All right, so thank you so much. Have a good weekend. We'll see you guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.